taken out of context.
Taken out of context.
Taking things out of context.
Out of context.
Taken out of context.
Taken out of context.
In the context.
We have more context.
Out of context.
Taken out of context.
That is so out of context.
And take shit out of context.
Out of context.
Deeply out of context.
You're taking it out of context.
No, hey, hold on. So we're gonna flesh this out because I don't want nobody saying we don't take things in context.
Clipped me out of context.
It was out of context.
It's hard for your words to be taken out of context.
The full context.
In a modern day context.
Tell me the context.
Another important reminder as to why context is so important. So,
Hey everybody, it's Barbara Ann. Welcome back to my channel, Straight Out of Context. Fair use disclaimer, free speech disclaimer.
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
So, breaking news, this one's going to be shocking. Candace Owens lied again. Except this time it only took like a couple hours for her to be called out on her lie. So you guys remember when she did that CNN interview where she gets really embarrassed at one part?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamps.
Do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
Well, first, she never mentions that part of the interview, and she tries to clip up another part where she thinks she looks okay, I guess. And she says originally that this was only a couple days after Charlie's death, so, excuse her language. Then a few hours ago on X, she tries to do more damage control and says, hey, CNN blindsided her. She was never supposed to talk about Charlie. And then, magically in this one, she says it was 20 days after Charlie's death, not a couple days. Well, just 2 or 3 hours after she posted that, this got posted. It was the rest of the email where she absolutely does agree to talk about Charlie Kirk. And I gotta be honest, I find it very interesting that she lied about something that she should be smart enough to know would be easily debunked, right? Because the email, both sides have it. So why would you say that you never thought you were going to talk about Charlie when you know that they have the rest of the email chain?
So Candace Owens just came out with a list of 10 things she said that were lies from TPUSA.
They're allowed to lie. No, that's ridiculous. We will not be following that. Here's our list, and this is by no means definitive, okay? So getting this together briefly, they told us these lies. The amazing, heroic, magnificent Mikey McCoy had blood all over him. That's a lie, told by Pastor Rob McCoy. Charlie was a committed evangelical who only liked Catholic architecture. That's a lie, told and reinforced by Alex Clark and Andrew Colvett. Lie number 3 is that Charlie's neck stopped a .30-06 bullet because Charlie ate salad, he had strong bones, it was a modern-day Christian miracle. That's a lie. The offender is Andrew Colvett. Another lie, Charlie never blinked in his support for Israel. Offender, Josh Hammer, Bibi Netanyahu, insert Zionist here, many Zionist, Christian Zionist influencers as well. That turned out to be a big lie, an unnecessary lie. Lie number 5, the magnificent Mikey McCoy called his dad first. That's a lie. Rob McCoy told that lie. Number 6 is Terrell, the AV guy, was told to remove the cameras by police. That's not true. I have every second of his moves. That offender would be Tyler Boyer, okay? He lied. Number 7, Terrell moved the SD cards because people were stealing hats. Question mark, Andrew Colvett, what if you were scared about people stealing? Maybe remove the cameras? The very expensive cameras would be the thing that they would steal. What are they going to do with your SD card? They're going to resell that? Like, that doesn't make sense. Those are pretty cheap, right? Lie number 8, Ben Shapiro and Charlie Kirk never had any bad blood between them. The offender there was Alex Clark. Ben Shapiro was on her show, and I don't know why she tried that little bit of propaganda when she knew that wasn't factually true. 9, Charlie established Doge, and that wasn't unusual. Turning Point financially audits the company every year since its inception. Lie. Doge was entirely different from the apparatus of financially auditing yourself, which is recommended and actually in some states required for a company that size, that's 501c3. And 10, like I said, this is by no means a definitive list. Mikey McCoy was a hero that day. Now, you could say that's subjective, but I feel like that, like, objectively, to be a hero, you can't just make quick phone calls. I don't know. I not include 911 in that.
Many different things that are said to be lies is why many different people are continuing to investigate in this whole case. And I just pray that the Lord continues to bring light out, that what is true may be revealed. Amen.
Remember when Candace Owens dared Benjamin Netanyahu to post the entire letter Charlie Kirk sent to him after he shared a few sentences eulogizing him?
I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing.
Well, the New York Post just published the entire letter, and it is nothing like what she claimed.
I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech.
This is the letter. It is 6 pages long. Andrew Kovelt confirmed its authenticity. And while we can't read the whole thing, you can easily find it on the New York Post website. The letter itself is full of love and praise for Israel. In it, Kirk expresses a deep concern for how Israel is fighting the social media war. He offers detailed suggestions on how Israel can win the information war. He writes that when you don't push back, anti-Semitism and anti-Israel propaganda fill the void. And Candace Owens is one of the loudest voices filling that void. So much so that as soon as her friend Charlie Kirk was horrifically assassinated, she leveraged his death to push an anti-Zionist agenda. Candace's entire brand is shifting the goalposts, even when she's caught red-handed. The letter proves that Candace Owens was lying, not just about the contents of the letter, but about Charlie Kirk's position as a whole. In her world, everything revolves around Candace and her boogeyman, Israel, as she likes to call it.
Israel.
That's why pushing back matters. It's why this letter is so important, and it's why she got exposed.
You know, Alex Clark calling you out, you kidding me? Should I do what she did? And it would have been more moral for me to invite the Wall Street Journal a literal week after Charlie is murdered. I couldn't even speak to the press that week. I still haven't spoken to the press about Charlie Kirk, actually. Haven't even given one interview about Charlie Kirk because it felt icky to me.
When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. I still haven't spoken to the press about Charlie Kirk, actually. Haven't even given one interview about Charlie Kirk because it felt icky to me.
Who do you think is the most responsible? Why would they want him gone?
I think Charlie was not allowed to be anything but a Christian Zionist. And he was changing in the last few weeks. When I look at the timeline that I put together, some weird stuff, this Egyptian plane that was started tracking him, everything began ratcheting up after Tucker Carlson hit the stage. And
in July.
Mm-hmm,
oh yeah, I was there for that. Yeah.
That pissed
him off.
That was a something.
Yeah.
So I think Charlie was done, as Megan showed the video. He was telling Tucker to go max. All of the things that they lied about, we've now proven. And why were they lying about it? That's why this is the thing. Why lie if you have nothing to cover up? That's my common sense here. You only lie because you have something to cover up. No matter what the lie is you only lie because there's something that you're hiding. So if they had all come out right when Charlie died, if Seth Dillon, who pressed Charlie in the Hamptons, was like, oh my gosh, my biggest regret is the last time I saw Charlie, I was being such a jerk about the Israel. They were so stupid. And this is a reminder that you never know when you're going to see somebody last. It would have been like, oh, okay, nothing to see here. It was like a full court press effort to lie about everything. Josh Hammer, he never blinked on Israel. He was on the text message chain where Charlie said 48 hours before he died that he was done with the pro-Israel cause. Why lie? That's my question. And I don't like the silence from Turning Point employees. I know for a fact one of them, who I'm not going to name, has a text message from Charlie the day before he died saying, they are going to kill me.
Wow.
Now, he was not referring to the trans lobby when he wrote that message.
Yeah.
So why not present? If you are his friend and you're interested in the truth, why wouldn't you tell the public that? Wouldn't you just come right out to the public and say, hey,
I don't know what happened, but like Charlie thought they were going to kill him. I do not like the way Turning Point is behaving. I've made that clear. And nobody is going to emotionally manipulate me and tell me that it's all good now. And to attack Turning Point would be to attack his legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Charlie told me years ago that he had, which I shared the messages, he was having a ton of visions and was telling me that Turning Point was going to be the death of him. He knew he was going to die young, and strangely knew that I was going to be the only person to defend him. Right. I showed the messages.
Yeah.
I showed the messages.
They tried to say it was fake and you pulled it up and
So it's we're here. We're here now. And I'm going to defend him. I'm going to figure out what happened.
Okay, so this is kind of breaking on X a little bit. Shout out to Shady Katie Lady and to Jay Witt's podcast. Jay Witt broke this on his podcast. Okay, so Candace Owens read her letter that she got the other day that had all this information about this plane going back and forth, and it was like, you know, this somebody within the government who is leaking to her, essentially, right? And in this letter, she mentions an address that they refer to, this person that's messaged her, refers to her as like this stopping point with this airport and everything, okay? The address is 920 North King Street, okay? This is vague and it's kind of hard to see, but 920 North King Street, 1 Rodney Square. Okay, it's on there. Pause it, whatever. That is Candace Owens' lawyers that are representing her in the Brigitte Macron case. That's their office. I'm going to show you. When you Google it, 920 North King Street, Wilmington, Delaware, Richards, Leighton and Fingers shows up. Okay? And when you Google it, let's see if it'll come up. It's not coming up. When you Google it, yes, they represent Candace Owens in the Brigitte Macron case. Is Candace getting punked? Like, is this secret person who's working with the government that, you know, is leaking this information to her? Did they punk her and then she just completely not notice that it was her lawyer's address? What the heck is happening right now?
There's been an allegation made by prominent podcaster Candace Owens that she's received a death threat, a credible death threat from the French, that a threat has been made on her life, and that the French, she's been told, also may have had a role in Charlie's assassination. Have you looked into either of those? Do you believe she's received a credible death threat from the French, or that the French had something potentially to do with Charlie's death?
Any American that receives a death threat from overseas or anywhere in America is going to be fully investigated. So we're not going to turn our eye away from that investigation or any others. If there's anything to it, this FBI will respond to it.
Okay, but so far, no.
So we are just looking at everything that comes in. We're not going to reject any piece of information. If someone feels that their life is being threatened, we are, of course, looking at it.
Do you want to involve me in you looking at it? Because actually it kind of left me on red. There has been no communication with the FBI. You are aware right there. Megyn Kelly is asking you directly about it, so you can't pretend you didn't receive it. And you are choosing to skip over. He completely skips over the part about me having asserted, which Megyn asks him directly, you know, was France involved in Charlie Kirk's assassination? He doesn't even address that. Skips right over it and instead says, if any American has a threat, that's what we're here for. And she's like, okay, but was there actually a threat on if anybody, let's just kind of state it more broadly, we will take it seriously. Well, you're not doing that, Kash Patel.
Imagine my shock after years of having been a huge Brandon Tatum fan, reading all of his stuff, listening to his podcast, watching his videos. Then I invite him onto my podcast because I'm such a big fan, and he comes and we have an amazing conversation about like God and the Bible, the Torah, what's happening to the conservative movement right now, an amazing conversation. And then the next day, I get this message from his office. Hello, Rachel. Brandon asked me to reach out with a direct request. Please refrain from posting and please remove any uploaded version of the interview with him. He was not aware that you are Rabbi Shmuley Boteach's daughter at the time of recording. Brandon has publicly and consistently opposed many of your father's positions over the years, and he does not wish to be associated directly or indirectly, with him or his views. For that reason, we also need to formally cancel the interview. It already happened, whatever, okay? And any planned publication or promotion related to it. Please confirm that the interview has been taken down and will not be posted moving forward. I wrote back to them saying, this is like shocking. Can you please repudiate this? I'm not taking the conversation down. They completely ghosted me, never answered me. Okay, so what's bothering me here? It's not just that this is such a degrading, demeaning message where Brandon treated me like a piece of garbage stuck to the bottom of his shoe. And that's not such a big deal because it's very common that someone's private character doesn't match their public persona. Okay, that's fine. It's also not that he went woke on me and tried to cancel our conversation and censor me because of my last name, right? I love my dad with all my heart and soul, but we're two different people. We agree on some things, disagree on other things. Conservatives, right? This is one of our biggest conservatives. We don't cancel people based on their background, their ethnicity, their last name, their religion. It's that he lied. I looked it up and I remember thinking, I don't remember him ever talking about my dad. What is he talking about? Like years of disagreement? There's nothing online. I can't find anything. It's a lie. My guess, and this is why I'm sharing this, is that this came from Candace Owens. Candace Owens has such a creepy obsession with my father and I. She has blasted us multiple times, me, on her Daily Wire show. She accused my father of murdering Michael Jackson. She accused me and my father of killing people. She used the word killing. And in this conversation I have with Brandon, I called her evil because she is evil. She is. I stand by that. And Brandon kept defending her and saying, no, Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes are evil, but not Candace. I know Candace. Candace is my sister. I know her heart. She's a good person. I believe, this is like my guess, that this came from Candace. And if Candace is censoring Brandon and Brandon caved to her censorship, and he cowed to her trying to cancel me, that is a problem. These are our biggest conservative voices. This is a problem. It's disgusting and it shouldn't happen.
And she's gloating and smiling while she does it. And you know what you fucking told me? She has no security. She doesn't fucking deal with the shit we have to deal with. She's a piece of shit. She's making everyone else suffer. And all of these fucking conservatives out there that send me these fucking messages have no fucking balls to call her out. More and more people have started doing it. They send me these fucking messages. Good for you, Tim. Good for you, Tim. I wasn't the first person to do it. I'm not going to take credit for that. But don't fucking DM me like I did something for you as you cower, as you fucking cower, scared that she'll put you on her thumbnail and claim you benefited from Charlie Kirk's assassination, which he's doing to me right fucking now.
Yeah, that was the...
I'm fucking done with these people.
She has security, just not on the level of you.
Oh, yeah, the one fat guy you mentioned with no wall and no barrier in a suburban neighborhood with neighbors. She doesn't give two fucking shits. No one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy. And she doesn't give a shit about her security. Meanwhile, I get bullets fired at my fucking property and I have to go live in the middle of nowhere. And I got fucking strangers coming up to my house in Maryland, breaking in. I got people showing up and beating up the residents who try to live there. How the fuck am I even supposed to sell this property? And you know, it's all lies. It's all hypocrisy. And it is for the purpose of making money. And she does not live the way other people live. And she claims she liked Charlie. She loved Charlie. And she is burning everything down that he built because she is evil. She is evil. And I'll say it again. This conservative movement is fractured. It's fried, whatever it is. Okay? Point, isn't it? The most effective political assassination in history, and thanks to the likes of the vile cunt Candace Owens, she has turned Turning Point into the perpetrators of the crime that was against them. I don't get paid by any of these people. I'm not on good terms necessarily with Turning Point USA. They didn't invite me to their stupid event. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. They invited me back after I started criticizing Candace. I'm not going to your event. I'm over all of this shit. The last thing that I need to deal with is a bunch of cowards in conservative media refusing to stand up to her. Megyn Kelly, come on. I appreciate the kind words, but come on. Such fucking pathetic bullshit. You know, and I get people saying, Tim, you know, thank you so much for talking about it. I don't care. I'm not doing a favor for anybody. I'm not doing this to benefit anybody. Nobody's paying me. There's no fucking Russia. There's no fucking Israel. There's just me sticking my neck out and then risking dying for what? A bunch of cowards that don't want to stand up to protect themselves? People like fucking Candace Owens?
I was fully bought into the boss babe. I mean, I lived in Manhattan.
Charlie essentially plucked me out of the New York City orbit and was like, no, I have a healthier way of viewing things and looking at life and things like that. And he was right. He was right. If I would have stayed on that path I was on, I would have lost out on some of the most beautiful moments of my life. Children, having a husband.
Right. And where's the husband that you allegedly gave up your boss babe empire for now? It honestly doesn't matter, because everything she just said is a lie. It's actually a matter of public information that Erika Kirk has never had a job in all her 37 years of life until a few months ago when she inherited one from her dead husband. Erika Kirk's sole ambition in life, even when she lived in Manhattan, which by the way isn't something you can put on your resume, girl, that was just an address you had at one time, was finding a husband. We know that because we saw her on national television throwing pussy at Jordan from season 3 of Summer House. And then she proceeded to marry the only person more embarrassing to throw pussy at than Jordan from season 3 of Summer House. The career section of Erika Kirk's Wikipedia page is 1 paragraph long, and it is a laundry list of failed attempts to do anything of value outside of the home. In comparison, sadly enough, the personal life section of her Wikipedia page is about 3 times as long. It's all about her marriage and her husband's death. And I'm not gonna lie, on a slightly more compassionate note, that made me really fucking sad. And I've never felt bad for this woman. I still don't. Like, she's a very dangerous person. She's openly spreading dangerous rhetoric and she's getting paid to do that. But imagine being almost 40 years old as a woman in 2025 and your own life, your own biography not passing the Bechdel test. She's positioning herself as being like an inspiration for young women across the country when there's nothing remarkable about her that isn't connected to a man. I still don't feel bad for her, but I have gone on record saying I feel so horrible for her children, especially her daughter, who she is actively lying to about her parent being dead, by the way. I'm just guessing, but I think it takes a lot of conditioning and suppressing a young girl to get her to grow into a woman like Erika Kirk, who is defined only by her proximity to men. And I fear that she is just going to repeat that cycle with her own daughter. There's nothing conservative about getting married or having a family. There's nothing conservative about that at all. There's a lot of work we need to do in our country to make sure having a family is actually attainable for everybody, but progressives are the ones leading the charge to make that happen. The progressive feminists I know who are married and do have children have way healthier, happier, successful family dynamics than any conservatives I know. So it sounds like Erika Kirk is the type of person you don't want career advice from or marriage and parenting advice, but I would expect nothing less from the person who showed up to this panel in Alphaba's sex cardigan.
Guys, help me out with this. I want you to pretend that your friend came to you and wanted to know whether or not they were the problem. And here's what they described. So in their work history, they've had 6 jobs. 3 of them were companies that they started themselves, and 3 of them were working for somebody else. Now, the 3 companies that they started themselves, 2 of them never even got off the ground. They were just complete and total failures, wasting tens of thousands of dollars. The 3rd company not only didn't get started, but also everybody had to resign, everybody had to disavow it, because not only were they going to get sued, but they were actually going to get criminally prosecuted if they kept doing what they were doing. Now, these were companies that your friend created. Now, as far as going to work for other people, the first job, they worked for about 1.5 years, and then they were summarily fired or asked to resign because they said some seriously crazy shit. The second job, they worked for like 4 months before they said crazy shit and were let go. And then the last job they had for about 8 months before they were let go for, let's just say, doing questionable activities. And to add to that, of the 3 companies they started and the 3 companies they worked for, only 1 person out of all of those companies is even willing to say anything nice about this person. And most of them are actively saying that this person is out of their fucking mind and a horrible human being. Now, with your friend coming to you with that scenario, do you think it's your friend or do you think everybody else is the problem? Okay, now I just want to let you know, that's Candace Owens. Just to be clear about this. She had 3 companies that she started, 2 complete failures. The 3rd one was a doxing website that got almost everybody sued and criminally prosecuted. Then she went to work at Turning Point, where she was asked to resign after saying some seriously questionable shit about Hitler. Then she went to PragerU, where she only lasted a couple months. Then she went to Daily Wire, where she apparently hated the owner and was fired after about 8 months because, again, she's saying questionable shit. And nobody at any of those companies has anything nice to say about her except for Charlie. He was the only one who had anything positive to say about the woman in any way. But yeah, everybody else is the problem. I am firmly convinced that Candace Owens was in love with Charlie Kirk. If you watched them interact together before he met Erika, she was 100% totally falling for this dude. And I think that fuels a lot of what she's doing these days. Because I honestly think that she, in her head, imagine that she and Charlie were going to get together. Like, you could just, like I said, just watch them interact before he met Erika. You could tell she was all about him, and he seemed to be into her a little bit too. But then he met Erika and fell in love. And good for him. Erika seems amazing. But it's very obvious that Candace is just bitter that Erika got him. And now that he's gone, Candace has no shot. He's the one that got away. Because like, you got to look, like, he met Erika and then, took a long time to he got engaged, took a long time to get married. And look at what she did. She met a guy, and then 18 days later, he proposed to her over FaceTime. Like, she rushed into marriage, which is what you see when you lose the one. And she lost the one. Yeah, I am completely convinced that the only thought Candace has about Erika is that she hates that she stole her man.
A very brilliant, very, very brilliant organizer, fundraiser, networker. Those three things, phenomenal. Probably the best in the business, maybe. Certainly one of the top 2, 3. Amazing at those things. But he was also very ruthless. He was a very ruthless person who spent a long time excising and excommunicating all of the most interesting people in politics from the right wing. He did it for a decade. Everybody knows it. Nobody said it because it's not polite in the aftermath of his death. What he also did at that same time was systematically extinguish the light of anybody who could not be controlled. And I'm one of them, and I'm going to tell you what happened. When you hear rumors about sexual impropriety about me now, most people are like, yeah, probably true. There's a reason for that. Charlie. When I was at the height of my fame, the height of my popularity, Charlie made up a rumor that I was having sex with children on campuses, underage boys on college campuses, and I was selling them drugs. And he did that because there was no other way they could seize a monopoly on college campuses, because I was just so totally dominant. And they didn't have anybody in the influencer line, because at that time, Charlie was a really shitty speaker. He got a lot better towards the end. I think he got a lot better man towards the end, honestly. I think having kids really changed him, if I'm honest. But at that time, very ruthless person. And they had nobody that could go up against me. He made up that lie. He forced every Turning Point chapter, and everybody has heard 20 instances where Turning Point has cancelled somebody. Everybody knows 20 times it's happened, all right? Happened to Ashley Sinclair, for God's sake. Happened to most of us, okay? Most of us. You have walked a very fine line, and because of the broadness and because of the mission that you're on, you've escaped the wrath of Turning Point. But if I haven't. Oh, you haven't? Well, oh, no.
They disinvited us.
A little recently. Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's the DNA of the organization. That's what it is. That's what it does. It is a thermostat. A thermostat is a control device. A thermostat's job is to monitor the temperature, and if it gets too hot or too cold, to make an adjustment, to do something to force the temperature.
And why are they losing?
Back where it should be. Because it worked for a very long time, but it did not work in the wake of their most audacious misstep, which is what we don't know about Charlie Kirk's death. There's something, I don't know what it is, I don't know if Candace is right.
Why can't we just accept
But there's
that
something. Now let me tell you this. I have Charlie on tape telling chapter presidents that if they book me, and this is 2016, 2017, okay? If they book me, he will dissolve their chapters. And he did it on the basis of an outrageous, utterly untrue lie. I was married by then. I was like so stupid. I was completely in love with that guy. I have a completely faithful marriage. It was utterly untrue, and he used it to extinguish me on campuses. I have the tapes, more than one, that he made up that lie to seize a monopoly on college campuses, and it worked. And he told people that I was having sex with underage students, and that I was selling them drugs. Now, the reason I didn't go after Charlie, to tell you the truth, is that I thought he was a net positive for the country. And I thought he was valuable to Trump. I didn't think it was in anybody's interest to do so. And I was like, I guess you would say I was biding my time, right? And I tweeted once, don't ever stop being useful, Charlie. But that lie fed into the lie they told later, or the, mischievous or malicious edit of whatever, and started what became my excision from public life. It cost me hundreds of millions of dollars.
All right, I need all of you Candace supporters to buckle up, because there's a long-standing timeline here that I think many of you don't know about. I'm going to lay down the receipts. You make up your mind. So back in 2007, in Stanford High School, Candace Owens claimed that somebody had made racist prank phone calls. There was no public evidence released, there was no proof of her claims, but this is when this pattern begins. There was a racially fueled lawsuit against the school that her parents filed, and there was a settlement outside of court. But again, her claim of being racially targeted was never proven. Fast forward to college, when she claims that there was a attempt due to financial aid being denied. No police report, no proof, no documentation, no lawsuit, just this public outcry from Candace Owens claiming this big conspiracy that she was victimized and targeted. Then, fast forward to 2015-2016, Degree 180, which was her own website, which is where she openly doxed conservatives that supported Trump, calling them racist. Yes, this is true. Same year, she opens a website called Social Autopsy, which was another doxing site. Both the left and the right torched her for this. Instead of owning it, she claims she was targeted and shut it down. Then, 2016-2017, she rebrands herself as a conservative. This is when Charlie Kirk brings her into Turning Point USA. The former liberal, now turned truth teller, skyrockets her. It was quoted to be the fastest rise of any conservative pundit that year. Then 2018, 19, and 20, you see her being suspended from Twitter. Facebook suspends her. GoFundMe shuts her down for a falsified GoFundMe campaign that she had. She sues fact checkers and loses. The judge literally said, and I quote, "Your content is the problem." In 2021, she was denied a visa into Australia for character issues. In 2022, she was named in a crypto lawsuit involving influencer promotion. In 2023, she was sued by the Macrons. We all know that story. In 2024, she leaves the Daily Wire for her antisemitism. You can watch the clips yourself. And now, 2025, she's claiming theories about Charlie Kirk being claims of poisoning, claims of murder, cover-ups, and complicity by his closest friends and family. No evidence. And officials and Turning Point have straight up said this is all lies. So different years, different platforms, same pattern. It's the same loop over and over and over again. Create a scandal, center yourself as the victim, blame everyone else, provide no evidence, and monetize the chaos. And when one grift dries up, you flip to the next one. Burn the old bridge and walk away. So you tell me, does this sound like a coincidence to you? Or a career path?
I've been deep diving the Federal Reserve for the past 2.5 years, and here are the top 10 reasons I don't like them. Number one, their name. They're not a Federal Reserve bank because they're not federal, they don't hold reserves, and you can't make deposits there, so they're not a bank. Number two, not only do they not have reserves, nobody else has reserves. See, as of 2020, there was a rule, and that rule said all the banks in America have to hold a certain amount of reserves with our Federal Reserve. As of 2020, that reserve requirement is now 0%. If that sounds like a bad idea to you,
Number 3.
I want to be in the Jekyll Island room. What's the Jekyll Island room? In 1910, following a state bank panic, 8 people got into a room together at a JP Morgan resort on an island in Georgia. We didn't even know Georgia had islands, and they met together to form the Federal Reserve. And it's not just where they were meeting or why they were meeting, it's who was meeting. And I'm going to get into number 8 because that's a huge one, but this one is huge because what if I told you that 0.25% of the entire nation's wealth was in that room? 8 people. That'd be crazy, right? But that's not the stat. It's actually 2.6% of the entire nation. Oh, I got it wrong again. Move that decimal. 26% of the white. A lot of money in one room. I spit there a little.
Number 4.
Then the branding of it. Nelson Aldrich, the senator at this meeting, took this billionaire plan from the 6-day meeting they had on a secret island that they had to take a train to a boat, and they had to lie to their families for why they were there. They said they were on a duck hunting trip and didn't use their real names. Nelson Aldrich went back to Congress and said, hey, I came up with this really cool idea all by myself. It's called the Aldrich Plan. Presented it to Senate. Senate said this leans too far in favor of Wall Street. They rebranded it the Federal Reform. They still didn't like it. Then a boat sank, and then after that, they rebranded it the Federal Reserve Act, and it passed. Number 6, the Pujo Committee. I'm not talking about Albert Pujols. I'm talking about the Pujo Committee, P-U-J-O. It was in 1912, the same year as that boat, and that whole committee was set up to say, hey, is this Federal Reserve thing just like a money trust? Are they just trying to take over the country's wealth? And guess what they found? Of almost all the major corporations that operated in America, almost all of them funneled to the same 3 to 4 bankers. Those same 3 to 4 bankers at the Jekyll Island meeting. From everything I can find in research is the Pujo Committee said, yes, there is a money trust here, but nothing really happened. Number 7, let's talk about when it was founded. December 23rd, 1913. Why was it passed so close to Christmas? Also, why did it pass at a 43 to 26 vote, a 17 vote difference, yet 27 lawmakers weren't present? 27 lawmakers were on Christmas recess when this passed. If all the lawmakers aren't present for a bill's passing, should the bill even be able to be passed? But it was. And the only difference from the original document, the Nelson Aldrich Plan, and the Federal Reserve Act was instead of there just being one major central bank, there's now a major central bank that the president gets to appoint the chair of, and there's 13 sub-banks that are also set up as private entities.
Number 8.
In 1914, do you know what happened? See, let me just break something down for you. Since the dawn of time, since France, since Rome, pick a war, they've been funded by debt. And that debt is typically funded by war bonds. And those war bonds are created by a country, by a government. Or, if you're so lucky, by a central bank. A central bank's existence is to fund and finance war. And what happened 7 months after the founding of the Federal Reserve? World War I. And the Great Depression Confession from Mr. Milton Friedman. He wrote a book. In this book, he said the Federal Reserve either purposefully or haphazardly allowed for the Great Depression. When I originally read this book, I was like, how has nobody talked about this? Why is this not online more? And I was able to find a transcription from a speech given by the current Federal Reserve Board of Governors, soon-to-be chairman Ben Bernanke in 2001 at a Chicago birthday party for Milton Friedman, economist who worked with Reagan. He is a humongous name in the economist world. You can like him, hate him, he's smart. And what he said was very interesting. By not funding one of the main New York banks that ended up creating the large domino that toppled all the other banks, because there were hundreds of bank failures in the Great Depression, like people were using seashells as money. That's wild. In that time, if they had funded the Federal Reserve Bank that New York bank, it wouldn't have fallen, it wouldn't have created that domino effect. And if they hadn't run rates so hot and so low through the 20s, creating the roaring 20s, leading up to 1927, 1928, when they went and raised the rate, they caused this retraction effect, this rubber band-like effect that created scarcity. People ran to the banks didn't have money, bank run began. And Milton Friedman wrote about that in his book and said the Federal Reserve did this, and they might have done it on purpose. And then Ben Bernanke in this transcription, I read it all the way through. It was pretty boring. But then at the very end of his 40-minute speech, I think it was 39 minutes, 32 seconds, the very end of his speech, he says, and to you, Milton, about your claims towards the Federal Reserve, you're right. But because of people like you, it won't happen again. He was referencing the Great Depression in Milton Friedman's book. Then there's Woodrow Wilson, who actually made the quote over a speech and in an autobiography in the 20s. He was sources saying that he is a most unhappy man because he has unwillingly handed over this great country into the hands of a few wealthy men. The Federal Reserve has had two jobs since the beginning of its existence. Keep the economy stable for laymen like you and I, and keep the wealth transferring to the elite, subtly. I'm editing this and I realized there was a whole clip that was missing about Ben Strong and the Warburg. So Ben Strong was at the meeting. He was with one of the huge banks for JP, and he ended up being leadership for the Federal Reserve. Because there's people out there that say, oh, the Jekyll Island wasn't actually what led to the Federal Reserve. That's a big flowing kablooey conspiracy. It's not. Ben Strong was there. He was a part of the planning committee, and then Woodrow Wilson appointed him to be the very first Federal Reserve chair in 1914. And then Paul Warburg ended up being the vice chair in 1916. And guess what Paul Warburg's brother did? Max. Oh, he was just over there, getting his way up in the international banking world of Germany, and ended up being one of the chairs of the German Reichsbank. The Nazi bank? And it's kind of weird that after World War I, we became the world's #1 creditor, and there was a global trade breakdown that happened after that bank failure that the Federal Reserve could have prevented that started the Great Depression, that led to Germany's economy failing, and that led to the uprising of the Third Reich and World War II. But those can't all be connected.
Erika thing is like, you gotta be at some level terrified, right? It's either the greatest evil that ever happened, or she's terrified and she's in this position. And I think the mistake they made, and I've said on my podcast, she should have never become the CEO and chairman overnight. Because now when people have questions, you gotta answer them, right? You're not just a grieving widow, but you very quickly decided that you were equipped to be Charlie. Well, guess what? That's gonna be a trial by fire. Charlie had to go through it. It's painful. And so people are feeling like, hey, it's not fair to ask her any questions because her husband just died. They should have put in place an interim CEO. Like, that's what any company would do. You would just say for a couple of months, give everybody time to grieve and kind of address the fact that this is like a new company and like we've got to figure things out without the head of the company, So I think they made a managerial error.
Oh God. Unemployment. Like, I don't know what to make of that. Who am I to question somebody saying that they found God? But Arizona is quite a place, and I worry about what happened. And, when you get to a certain level in business, they offer you what they say, what is the expression? It's either the silver or the lead.
You take the money or you take the bullet. And I wonder if that was presented to Charlie. I wonder if that's why he was fearful the day before when he messaged people and said, they are going to kill me. Who was he referring to? Do you guys believe that it was a gendered person on top of a rooftop? I don't. I certainly don't. Maybe Tim Pool does.
When you say you believe that Charlie Kirk was betrayed by someone close to him, what do you mean?
I think that in the coming weeks, there's going to be a lot of financial reports that are coming out. And I, first and foremost, do not believe that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. I want to be very clear on that. Whether he was involved, I think the answer is yes. I think that's obvious. And
your basis for saying he didn't act alone is what?
I don't know, maybe the weird Fed messages that were concocted out of thin air that had no timestamp and were written like they were speaking in 1822, among other things. Their lack of an ability to answer any basic questions about what took place.
But do you have any proof that the messages were made up? Because that would be easily proven.
Yeah, but they didn't put timestamps on them, and Discord came out and said they didn't exist.
This was supposedly text messages, not Discord messages. It's my understanding from the indictment.
I actually did not read that they were text messages.
The indictment calls them text messages.
What would it be like the feds are like on a computer, typing it out back and forth?
That's exactly what it is. The feds made up the text messages.
But you don't have anyone from like the FBI telling you that, or law
I have
enforcement?
leaks.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has anyone leaked to you?
And Tyler Robinson
But has anyone said to you, even off the record, yeah, we faked these?
I have very strong sources everywhere on both sides.
Well, I look forward to seeing the evidence of that.
Sure. Because when we keep talking about evidence, it's like, who's going to present that evidence? Like the mainstream media? Like who are you expecting to come out?
Yes, that would be a hot story.
No, it wouldn't be.
It would be.
It wouldn't be.
If the FBI, if I had a source telling me, if I had proof that the FBI faked those messages, that would be an enormous story.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we live in a post-Epstein world and we know how stories get shut down. And no one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erika Kirk has the power to shut me up right now. That's it.
I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the hand-picked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in. But just know that your words are very powerful, and we are human. My team are not machines, and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. You name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered.
Okay, super fun show today. You're probably seeing the clips, but Erika has gone off on conspiracy theorists. Obviously, every journalist out there is emailing me because it's about me. it's indirect, but it's also about me. And don't worry, in case you think it's not about me, she is going to name check me on stage with Barry Weiss on Saturday. How do we know? Because our mommy sleuths be everywhere. And they recorded the town hall today. And as soon as the town hall concluded, we got a flutter of emails. And what she says about the Egyptian planes, I'm sorry, not gonna lie, it's a little suspicious. It's weird. It's a weird response. So look, we got to go there.
Okay, you guys. Now, I wasn't sure about Erika. I was waiting, kind of a situation for her to be in, obviously having lost her husband, becoming the CEO and the chairman of a company. It's just a lot of transition, and it's nice to wait for more information.
All of which is not her business. It's not my business. It's not your business. But the way that she says husband and CEO of a company makes me think that this sociopath and narcissist is jealous. I think she was jealous of Charlie Kirk and everything that he had accomplished in more time than she. And she thought, having worked alongside of him, having done some speaking engagements with him, that his widow, amid his assassination, would come crawling back to her, asking her what she thinks. But Candace is merely a wife, a mother of 4. What could she possibly offer Erika Kirk that she can't learn on her own? No, really. And if Candace Owens says that women are not equipped to be CEO, then why is she heading her own show, her own website, and her own LLC? And why is her husband's LLC supporting her LLC? Because that's not only hypocritical that her husband is helping her with her show, her YouTube, and her website. It would be very odd that he's making that the priority because that's their bread.
Before you prejudge or just assume, make an assumption about somebody.
Yeah, a lot of the people that she's made judgments and assumptions about are people that she doesn't really know or has ever really met. And she's been implicating and implying and trying to provoke, prod, and instigate shit with Erika Kirk since the moment Charlie Kirk was assassinated. She can sit there all day long and say that she's building her own company, her own website, her own platform, but she's not. She's over there too focused on what Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA are constantly doing. She has been judgmental of her from the moment that her husband was murdered in front of the entire world and internet. I think they call that water your own damn grass.
Maybe it's not based in reality. Well, we are getting a lot more of Erika Kirk this week. I'll tell you that because she has been doing the rounds in the media really over the last couple of weeks. And she just gave an interview live with Harris Faulkner on.
Candace Owens is jealous. She's not just doing mainstream media. She is promoting her husband's last book after having completed said book, raising a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old and becoming CEO of a company. I think she's doing pretty damn well, probably better than Candace Owens could ever imagine. And with her small team of only 4, one of them being her husband, I think she's jealous of how many people have rallied around Erika Kirk and not her. Her constant attention and focus on Erika Kirk is giving jealous. But that is sociopathic narcissism, sociopathy. That's psychopathy. They feel that they're entitled, that they're deserving, that they earned that, and that they should have been given that. She feels that she should be working with Turning Point USA. And the fact that she's not, and allegedly they have removed her from their website completely, she's hell-bent on destroying it.
Fox News, where she finally addressed the quote-unquote conspiracy theories. And I have to say this because it's true.
She has to say this because it's true. That's funny because a lot of the things that she says are not true. That's just a fact. Yeah, and it's true that 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. And that is true, and that's going to be proven in the court of law. Watch, wait, and see. Not only does Tyler James Robinson as a perpetrator fit a crime pattern, but the assassination of Charlie Kirk fits a crime pattern. As much as everybody wants to believe that it fits this conspiracy pattern, it really doesn't. There is absolutely not one single piece of evidence to support anything other than Tyler James Robinson at this moment that I have seen, nor has Candace Owens provided.
But it completely missed the mark. For me, I am sorry, it just has.
So what was that she just said about judgments and assumptions? Oh, that was to prime you into believing, gaslighting you, manipulating you into believing that that's not exactly what the fuck she's doing. And then she goes on the fuck to do just that. And the fact that she says, I have to say this because it's true, and then spit out something like it missed the mark for me. That's not truth. Your feelings and opinions, Candace, are not truth. In fact, it can be said that your company, your website, your books, your YouTube channel is missing the mark for me, and it's not doing anything, not leading or teaching with kindness, with high emotional intellect or mental intellect. It's not helping bring people to the conservative movement or politics, because she doesn't give a shit about that anymore. She said that on yesterday's episode, remember? She only used it as a way to get famous. She's seen Charlie debating and got famous for his conservative views, and she thought she was just going to piggyback right off of that. But her LLC, her platform, her social media, her website, her books, they're doing nothing but showing people a case study in cluster B personality disorders that are undiagnosed and untreated with very intensive psychotherapy. Mark my words, it is a lesson to the entire world via the internet on how cluster B personality disorders do not discriminate against age, race, gender, nationality, ethnicity, and gaslighting and manipulation can come from anyone. And in my own opinion, she is a narcissist and a sociopath.
But the good news is that she is now unmurkying the water in terms of her intentions with this massive political organization.
And again, that's none of Candace Owens' business. That's not my business. That massive political organization is now hers and her children's. And it's not your business what she does with it, what she plans on doing with it, how she does it, what she prioritizes or what she does not prioritize, what she responds to and what she does not respond to. The fact that she even feels demanding and entitled enough to try and provoke that out of her.
That's good news, truly, because we knew Charlie, and now we are getting an opportunity to know Erika, who killed Charlie Kirk narrative. And since he is not a bought and paid for Fed, he is siding with not just the American people worldwide.
And I am all for following other leads and asking questions, but Candace Owens is not the right person to be doing that. She has no real power politically regarding government, law enforcement, to be able to bring justice to Charlie Kirk. Asking questions and prodding a narrative isn't the problem. She's prodding and provoking real people, slandering, libeling, and defaming real people, because she would rather single-handedly see Turning Point USA crash and burn without Charlie Kirk alive than to see his beautiful wife take it over and continue the blueprint that he had laid out for her, for Turning Point USA. Candace Owens feels that she's the only one that can do that. And if Erika Kirk was smart, she would completely X Candace Owens out of Turning Point USA for good, forever. Never work with or associate with her again. And yeah, maybe she could have manipulated Charlie at one point, but let's see her try to run that game on Erika Kirk. Because in the end, he thought so highly of her that he didn't actually work with her or do any speaking engagements with her or invited her. In fact, in private, when he was pissed off and angry that a donor was trying to take away $2 million a year, he threatened to bring Candace Owens back to piss them off. That's how he really felt and thought about Candace Owens. And whether you were a fan of Charlie Kirk or not, that image and persona that you know of him is not who he really was. He was very cutthroat behind the scenes. If you didn't placate him or Turning Point USA, he could single-handedly ruin you, especially as a political or conservative commentator. So it's not hard to see how somebody like Charlie Kirk, who he really was behind closed doors, behind the curtain, and a narcissist and sociopath like Candace Owens, why they were friends at one point, using the internet and social media to garner fame and millions.
And he says that he's not buying the official narrative, and there are some lingering questions. and he confirms what I told you about the Egyptian planes.
See, this is how the gaslighting and the manipulation works. That is a lie. He does not confirm anything about Egyptian planes. He only talks about it. Somebody addressing something publicly or talking about it is not proof. It is not evidence. It's just words. Hearsay. Please tell me that people in America are not this fucking dumb. Please tell me that people do not hear this and actually believe that Tucker Carlson saying something means that it is true, that he is confirming something she already told you. That is the human centipede. Everybody's mouth is sewn to everybody else's asshole. This is the big circle jerk that I've told everybody about. And nobody wants no fucking part of it. These people are just gross. They don't even have real morals or ethics or convictions or morals for them to even stand on them. It's all about making an income for themselves. That's it. Just making an income, a large income, and utilizing dumb Americans to fall for this shit.
I have been very patient. I do tend to focus on the evidence that's in front of us.
Evidence that's in front of us. What evidence? There she goes with the words to gaslight and manipulate you. I'm telling you, if she lost her voice box today, she would be fucked. And yes, excuse my French. And why not? Candace Owens can cuss. She says shit, fuck, and badass bitch in one episode. But she has never. What evidence? What evidence? See, and that's why so many people have started to see her for what and who she is. She's a liar. She's a gaslighter. She's a manipulator. She's not even a real conservative. I don't even know if she really is a Catholic or if she's in this other non-denominational Catholic church that some people have told me she's a part of, because certainly we know that she's not really into politics. She said so herself yesterday and the show before that she does not care about politics. Then why is she so obsessed with a huge political organization? Because that stage and those debates and those speeches is what gave her the opportunity to build a platform of 5.5 million people. Because I certainly didn't know who the hell she was until Charlie Kirk was allowing her to do speaking engagements with him years ago.
Obviously, asking questions when we come up across something that someone has said and it doesn't add up, or if they lied, create a list. And
things people say are hearsay. Unless it's direct eyewitness testimony, it's not even admissible in the court of law because it's hearsay. But again, she is conflating the words real evidence with asking questions because she knows she doesn't have real evidence. If she had it, she would have turned it over already, or she would have already found the person that's responsible. If you don't find the perpetrator within 48 hours, you lose a huge, huge percentage statistically of being able to not only find the person and apprehend them, charge them, bring them to justice, and define justice for Charlie Kirk, but you actually lose the ability to secure real evidence within the first 48 hours. It's crucial. It's crucial. Candace Owens does not believe in science. She says science is a cult, and she means all science. She has explicitly said that science is a cult. It is a satanic cult. So that means that she doesn't believe in pathology, biology, anatomy, medicine. She doesn't believe in real evidence then either, right? Or DNA, because it's all just a satanic cult. Because both things can't be true simultaneously at the same time. Meaning she doesn't believe in forensic science either.
Guys, imagine being married to me. My poor husband, he rolls over. He's like, what are you reading? And I feel like a regular wife says something, I don't know, maybe a love series, Nora Roberts, sweeping her away. Me, on the other hand, he rolled over, he asked me, and I said, oh, I'm reading a flat earth theory. And it dawned into an entire conversation. He's like, why are you reading a flat earth theory? And I'm like, because somebody messaged me on Connect about it and they included some links and I'm just reading them. I don't know. I'm just an interested person. No matter what, if there's a bunch of people that believe something, I now want to know what it is that they believe. And of course, he pushed me on this and he was talking about the earth curvature and science. And I said to him, listen, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. Actually, what I am is I am somebody who has left the cult of science. I have left the mega church of science. Because what I have now realized is that science, what it is actually, if you think about it, is a pagan faith.
You guys were coming after me because I was saying, look, we can write into our imaginations how Erika is thinking or how she's feeling or what she should be wearing.
Again, it doesn't matter if the neighbors are nosy. One of the 10 commandments is love thy neighbor as you love thyself. Nosy neighbors aren't entitled to anything at all. It's not anybody's business what she thinks or feels, her opinions, what she wears. That's her business. She's a woman whose husband was assassinated before the whole world, and the internet can watch it over and over and over again. She can choose whatever she wants, and that's not her business, my business, your business. So that level of disrespect and dehumanizing Erika Kirk with this bullshit and these conspiracy theories is just gross. It's icky. It's creepy. And she can say 25,000 words surrounding it. It's not going to gaslight or manipulate me. And if you're one of the intelligent people out there, it's not going to you either.
But she hasn't actually said anything yet, right? That was my stance. She hasn't actually said anything yet. Give her a chance, okay? And now she's making the rounds in the press because Charlie's book, his posthumous book, is coming out about the Sabbath. And she's speaking about the quote unquote conspiracies as she sits down with a lot of these news anchors.
Yeah, because she had to be the one to address it, and good for her, because I think she summed it up pretty damn good. I think she did a fantastic and beautiful job when she ended it all with stop. Just stop. And yeah, good that Charlie Kirk had his book almost completely done and that they were able to finish the last little bit and publish it. I might not have been a very big fan of Charlie Kirk, but that's still his wife's right. And she's not obligated in any way, shape, or form into responding to Candace Owens.
So first and foremost, she's sitting down here with Harris Faulkner, and I just want to show you a couple of clips from this sit down, which is now trending. And she begins by addressing the question, which has been in the air, regarding where Charlie Kirk is buried. That question resurfaced this week in a big way because Milo Yiannopoulos and a few others have asserted with absolute certainty that Charlie has not yet been buried.
Did I or did I not just say something about this yesterday and the day before? Did I or did I not? Because I can easily pull those clips. It's nobody's business if he's going to be buried outside of Phoenix, Arizona, or outside of Chicago, Illinois, where his parents live, where he grew up. It can take 6 months to a year for the ground after somebody is buried to settle enough to have a headstone placed on top of the disturbed soil, because oftentimes they have to add more. But for somebody like Charlie Kirk, they are likely going to build a huge mausoleum to protect his corpse from being accessible or desecrated. And yes, that can take a very long time because Charlie Kirk didn't anticipate dying before his 32nd birthday. He likely didn't have that done. So it can take a long time to customize and build a mausoleum to then have him interred properly. And again, that is not uncommon. That is not the nosy neighbor's business. Even Abraham Lincoln had to be reinterred 3 different times because people kept disturbing his grave, actually trying to dig him up. And if people were doing that in the middle to the late 1800s, they certainly would do it in 2025 because human behavior has not changed. Only time, only the tool that we use to measure a moment. Then, now, future. Only that changes, but human behavior doesn't change. The same way that mass shootings, gun violence, that doesn't change. The first school shooting was in 1840, and we had 10 between 1840 and 1850. School shootings. That was over 185 years ago, and it's just gotten worse. And from 1840 to 1850 all the way to 2025, I've done a video breakdown of exactly that. But people don't care educationally. They don't care unless it's their family or their kid that dies. That is the sad reality.
That's what they're saying. They say they have proof of that. And at first, Harris Faulkner is asking about that claim. Take a listen.
Talk to me about this part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing? Can I have one thing? Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing. This is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that, but this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents. One thing.
Okay, so on its face, I actually agree with that. I think that when people are being buried and where they're being buried and how their funerals are done, that is very private matter. Okay, so objectively, I agree with what she's saying.
Nobody cares subjectively what Candace Owens thinks or feels about somebody else's husband and father and child, brother, boss. And notice how she clips out the part where Erika Kirk addresses her and tells her to stop.
Okay, but subjectively, because we are dealing with the subject of Erika Kirk and what transpired immediately following Charlie's assassination, this is going to be read as Meghan Markle syndrome, okay? Meghan Markle syndrome, where you want privacy when you want it, but you want publicity whenever you want it, and that just doesn't work, okay? You don't get to like pick and choose when.
Here comes the attack. This is how she does it.
You want privacy and when you don't want privacy. And subjectively, as it,
Nope, absolutely wrong. Even public figures, politicians, and celebrities deserve to have privacy. When they're having sex with their spouse or their girlfriend or their boyfriend, you don't get to pick and choose. You got to be like Paris Hilton or Kim K and put out a sex tape because we all want to see it. We're entitled. The moment you give birth to your child, because you're a celebrity or you're a public figure, you don't get to pick and choose what's public and private. Yeah. They can. They have every human, civil, legal, constitutional right to privacy and safety. And anybody who has been manipulated, gaslit, or conditioned into believing otherwise, shame on you. Because that same thing would apply to Candace Owens and her husband then. She doesn't get to be famous and have one of the biggest platforms curated the last 7 years off of dead Charlie Kirk and off of his hard work and his achievements and his success. Make up a whole entire fake assassination plot that never happened, go to Dollywood for the second time in not even 12 months, attend Tucker Carlson's private little Christmas bash, or should we say Thanksgiving/Christmas bash, right in the middle of pretending that she had this assassination plot. She leaves off that Friday with, oh, I'll see you all Monday. Oh, wait, no, I won't. And her producer cut because she already knew that she wasn't going to have a show for the whole next week because of the Thanksgiving break. But she's so in fear for her life, not knowing the details of this alleged assassination plot yet, that she felt comfortable enough attending Tucker Carlson's party, going to Dollywood. She also posts on 11/22 that 2 days prior, she learned of an assassination plot. And that Thursday and Friday, November 20th and 21st, Thursday and Friday, she did a show where she fails to mention said assassination plot. So that's how you know she's lying. She's lying. It's scripted. It's curated. It's a soap opera that is made up. Because if she had the proof, she would show it. She would show the email. She would show where she's seen $1.5 million be exchanged for an assassination. And she would be able to link that to Emmanuel Macron. And she would have that proof. She would put that out in the world. She doesn't show it because she doesn't have it, because it didn't happen and it doesn't exist. The same way the Pentagon and even the FBI were like, no, we have not seen no proof of such at all. We were not even reported to any such thing at all. And Lord help the imbecile who believes Candace Owens. Lord, truly shine a light on you and help you.
In the matter of Erika Kirk, this is the same person who had somebody record her over Charlie Kirk's casket. That was not our business, truly. And I can say that decision was made by her. And there is, some credence to the claim that everybody grieves differently. I wouldn't even record myself over a casket ever, okay? Some people maybe perhaps want to have that memory. But the decision to publish that, you crying over your husband's casket, and to publish his dead body on Instagram was a decision that was made by Erika.
And that's her right. That's her decision. You don't have to like it and you don't have to agree with it. Some people take photographs of their deceased loved ones in their casket at their funeral at the time of their death. They did it during the Victorian era when it was very common for 1 out of 4 people to die before the age of 5. Disease, bacteria, funguses, viruses, bubonic plague. Influenza was definitely a big one. It is every single year, kills more people than COVID-19 did, with still a 12% average death rate annually when COVID only had about 1% death rate. Yeah, she didn't have a say when 3,600 people had a cell phone and recorded her husband being assassinated with a single bullet from a single shot one time by Tyler James Robinson. She didn't get to say anything about that then. And it was her choice to share what she wanted to share. She didn't share his entire body or face, but she let people know that's what grief looks like. That's what one person's bad decision cost a family. And Lord forsake anybody who thinks that it's their right to tell somebody else how to grieve or what to do with their husband's body. And that's the difference between truly God-fearing, devout, faithful people, good, decent humans, and Candace Owens, because we wouldn't even say that kind of thing to Candace Owens had that tragedy been hers and it was her husband who was assassinated. But here she is saying, you don't get to have it both ways. You don't get to demand privacy to be public when you want to be public, use the media when you want to use the media, and then demand privacy over here. Why not? Says who? Because there's lots of things that demand privacy. Showering, bathing, using the restroom, having sex with your spouse, your health and your health care, your doctor's visits, the birth of your children, your confessionals to God, your prayers, your dreams. Those are all things that are private. And forsake you if you think otherwise. The narcissism and the entitlement is so palpable and raw with Candace Owens that it just screams. It's giving jealous bitch. She could have covered all of this over 3 months ago, but she brings it up now because she wants to prod at Erika Kirk even more. Why? There's no other reason than jealousy. She doesn't even need this fluff and filler for content. Candace Owens clearly struggles with revenge, with anger, with vengeance, with jealousy, with envy, with greed. And that's pretty apparent. I mean, everybody has their struggles. Everybody has things that they need to deal with. But see, that's the thing about narcissism and sociopathy or psychopathy. They're incapable of realizing that about themselves. That's why so many people with cluster B personality disorders go undiagnosed. That's also why we see a high degree of cluster B personality disorders in the music industry, in Hollywood, in politics, people that are public figures, because they're the kind of people that will do whatever it takes. Fuck their way to the top, claw their way to the top, kill their way to the top, if that's what it means. To be famous, to be rich, to be elite. And they do. They do it all the time. And then they placate, ass kiss, and circle jerk each other to keep each other all there in the same sphere. It's sick. It's a toxic, sick, disgusting, despicable, evil bubble of circle jerking human centipede. And I'm so glad that that is not me, that I exist outside of that toxic bubble. And if Erika Kirk does now too, then so be it, and she'll be better off for it. God will reward and bless, despite and regardless of this nasty, toxic, conservative, public commentator wanting to be rich and famous on social media, bullshit ass, trifling motherfucking little content creator sphere of all people that went independent because they got fired from mainstream. All sucking each other's ass, using each other's content to try to say, see, look, I can confirm because Tucker Carlson said. People are not stupid, and that is your first mistake always, is misreading the room, underestimating your audience. And I know firsthand because I have gone over it 3 months ago how I was a fan of hers. I read her books. I bought them. I supported her. I watched her show. And then I realized that I wasn't really paying attention to what the fuck she was really saying. It was just background noise for me. It was just entertainment. But then something changed. And that was Charlie Kirk died. And then I had a dream of the angel in a blue robe. And they told me that Candace Owens is lying and she's scripting all of this and she's making it up. And then I knew, because obviously dreams are real evidence, right? No, that's preposterous. That's absurd. I started really paying close attention and watching every single show and really doing a breakdown of every word. And then I started realizing, duh, this is how she gaslights and manipulates you. And what really pissed me off was when she told Charlie Kirk's private pastor to sit down and to essentially shut up, because she did say shut up, and that she's demanding his silence from him. The fact that she would talk to a priest, a minister, a pastor, or any religious leader like that is just gross. But then it was showing messages between her and Charlie and literally saying to Charlie Kirk, just go take the last step. Go on, convert to being Catholic because you're too smart to be a Protestant. You were a Protestant for the majority of your life until a year ago. And the fact that you get to sit there and say that other denominations of Christianity are stupid. You're dumb. That's exactly what she said when she told Charlie Kirk that he's too smart to be a Protestant. She's implying the opposite exactly with her words. The Protestants are stupid, that they're dumb, that they're ignorant. Like I said, coming from a very devout Catholic, French Catholic family, she is obsessed with psychiatry and pedophilia. Like I said, there has been scandal within the Catholic Church regarding certain priests, but that is not exclusive to the Catholic Church. Pedophiles happen everywhere, in every religion, in every career path. But did I not love Pope Francis because of what some pedophiles did? Do I not love my grandparents, my parents, my great-grandparents, myself, or my friends who are Catholic? Do I blame 1.9 billion Catholics around the world for what a couple bad people did, abusing their power and abusing their position? No, because I know better. I know human behavior, and I know that pedophiles are attracted to a proximity to power or a proximity to children, so they can offend. And it's not the religion. It's not God. It is not any other Catholic that is responsible for that. The same way that there have been several bad popes in the past in the Catholic Church. That's preposterous and it's absurd. You don't get to stereotype and discriminate or even be a hypocrite, because those kinds of scandals exist everywhere. 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 So it's her religious snobbery that does bother me the most. And I think everybody knows that. But it's her entitlement and her thinking and feeling that she knows more than everybody else and that she is a part of the one and only true faith because she converted in 2024 due to her husband. Now, a lot of people have told me that she's part of a different Catholic church called SSPX. And I haven't done much digging into it, but it doesn't answer to the Holy, it's not under the Holy See. So it doesn't actually, it's not under the Pope's authority. It's not under the official Vatican authority. I don't know if that's true or not because I haven't looked into that. But I do know that the First Amendment right to the U.S. Constitution is your right to free speech, your right to freedom of the press, your right to freedom of religion, your right to free assembly, meaning peaceful protest, not dangerous rioting, and your right to air your grievances and petition your government or your state. Every U.S. citizen has that First Amendment right, the right to freedom of religion. And it's not my place as somebody who is devout and God-fearing to tell anybody else that they can't have that right or infringe on that right or their right to not exercise religion at all. It's also not my right or my place to belittle somebody else or judge somebody else or mock somebody else for their religion or to be an anti-Semite, to be stereotypical, to be hypocritical, to classify all Protestants as dumb, stupid, ignorant, moronic. But Candace, in her own brain, in her own heart, in her own soul, she's in her right. She is allowed to do that.
Watch that. Take a look.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I know. I love you. I love you.
God bless you.
That is an incredibly personal and an incredibly intimate moment, an intimate moment that you invited the public into. Okay.
Yeah, she did. And she had the right to make that choice. She also has the right legally and the basic human right to say, no, you don't get to see this. She didn't get the choice or the say in the matter when Tyler James Robinson assassinated her husband in front of the world with over 3,600 cell phones recording it. And this is how you know that Candace Owens does not respect Erika Kirk. And if she doesn't respect Erika Kirk, then she never really respected Charlie either. And she doesn't respect him now, which begs the question, how much could you really love somebody if you only love them when they're alive and they benefit you? Yeah, it was a very private moment that she shared the way that she wanted to share it. And she's not entitled to do any more or any less. And I don't care how many followers Candace Owens has. It doesn't mean she's right. It doesn't mean she's prettier, smarter, or better than anybody else. In fact, it just signals to me how many Americans truly are lost. How many of them are gaslit and manipulated so easily. And that's not only scary to me, that is terrifying. That is terrifying. So what? She showed her grief raw and her deceased husband's hand in his casket. She had every right to choose to share that. That does not mean that she has to share anything else or tell anybody anything else. That doesn't mean that she has to share her private sex life with her husband just because the public may want to know or may want to see what it looks like. Doesn't mean she has to show her children's faces just because the public may want to know, because they may want to know what they look like. The nosy neighbors need to put their brown noses back up somebody else's ass. That's what I think, because I think it's disgusting to sit there and to use something like that and say, see, look, you have to tell us what we want to know. No, she doesn't. She doesn't have to tell you shit. I don't care how many followers you think you got on your side. Fuck you. Because essentially what I'm saying is fuck your entitlement. Fuck your thoughts. Fuck your feelings. Fuck your opinions. Because it doesn't mean shit. It doesn't matter. You don't get to dictate what another woman deems is private or is public. What is private that is shared publicly, and what is public to be shared publicly, what is public to be shared privately, not your business, not your place. Never will be, never was, never is going to be. And it doesn't matter if you have 5.5 million people agreeing with you. It doesn't mean they're correct either. See, that's the difference between somebody like me and somebody like Candace Owens. And yes, curiosity always kills the cat. But for me, my respect and my human decency, even when I don't like somebody, is a lot stronger than my own curiosity. And that is a virtue and an attribute that I find in myself to be one of my strengths. Because if the roles were reversed and this was Candace Owens, I would still feel the same way, that she has every right to decide what is public and private for herself, for her kids, for her spouse. And you're damn straight, if it was Erika Kirk sitting in that spot doing the same goddamn thing, I would be still making the same video now.
There was no reason to do that outside of wanting to share something that was very private with the public. And now you fast forward 3 months removed, and it's why does the public want to know where he's buried? It doesn't work like that. You have to make a decision. I want this always to be private, or I want this always to be public. That's my personal feedback there.
That's where Candace Owens is dead ass wrong. She does not have to make everything public or everything private. No, she does not. You don't get to give feedback because nobody asked for it. Nor is your feedback important, necessary, or is it respected enough for anybody to consider it? I cannot fathom or imagine what would give her the idea or the inclination to think or feel that her feedback is.
Later on in this same interview, she launches into a strong defense of Turning Point USA employees who have, just as a matter of fact, told many lies, many inconsistencies. These are verifiable. So they are currently lying to the public, or they have lied to the public, but she is going to deliver quite an impassioned defense regarding these particular individuals and the organization as a whole. And I want you to hear her passion. Take a listen.
What are they taking from you right now?
Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing.
It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the handpicked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we hear anything, we send it to the authorities. Please dig into this. No rock will be unturned. I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole. Whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
I'm sorry, but that whole thing right there is frustrating. And I'm going to explain to you why I just do not accept any of that. First and foremost.
Too bad. You have to accept it, Candace, whether you like it or not, because she just put you in your place. And how convenient that you stopped it right before she actually addresses you.
No one, and I mean absolutely no one, outside of my husband and Erika Kirk has the power to shut me up right now. Back down. And so my message to them is to stop. My breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this, no.
You don't have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus. Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want to put these people back in the box where they've been creeping from?
I don't care what box you're in, but just know that your words are very powerful and we are human. My team are not machines and they're not robots. They are human. We have more death threats on our team and our side than I have ever seen. I have kidnapping threats. I have, you name it, we have it. And my poor team is exhausted. And every time they bring this back up, what are we supposed to do? Relive that trauma all over again? They watched my husband get murdered. I have no idea how I would have reacted if I was there that day. And thank the good Lord that I did not have to see that happen. But my team, they are rocked to the core. So why every single day do they have to be dragged through the mud, analyzed, hyper-analyzed?
You know, the conspiracies that are out there, all of the like. Do you think that there is more of it now because you do shine your light? I mean, did people just expect you would just go away?
I don't know what they expected.
They pick on you because of your accessories. I mean, I've seen some of it.
Oh, yeah. No, at this point, it's what the conspiracy collection. Get it before Christmas. Like, seriously. If you want to find and pick me apart, go right ahead. I do not care. I don't. This was happening before Charlie was murdered. Both of us have been through the ringer of people will call you whatever they want to call you. They will. But I have seen it firsthand impact the people that I love, and I'm done. I'm done. And if people think that I was just going to wilt away, I'm not going to sit in a corner and cry and be in fetal position. This is a duty to my husband, and it's an absolute honor, and I will never back down. And so my message to them is to stop. To stop.
And that's what we will say here on Out Number 2. God bless you. Hold up your book.
Stop in the name of God.
Most, The idea that she does not have time. Okay, she definitely has time, okay? She's done Hannity, she's done The Five, she's done Fox and Friends, she's done Outnumbered, she's done Megyn Kelly Live, she sat down with the New York Times.
This is just pure jealousy. Candace Owens, 16 days after Charlie Kirk was assassinated, sat down with CNN, whom made a complete embarrassment out of Candace Owens, where she then became very aggressive when she caught herself up in how much she did not know about the homicide investigation of Charlie Kirk, even though she's made millions in the last 3 months. Millions.
Made time, by the way, in case you don't remember, to fly to DC for Sergio Gore to be sworn into the ambassador to India, as the ambassador to India, which feels kind of obscure and not necessarily related to Turning Point USA.
Again, not your business. Not your business.
Affairs, building affairs, or whatever it is. But sure, that's fine. I mean, obviously,
but I mean, whatever. It is what it is. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Girl, is you okay? Is you okay, girl? Girl, is you gonna be okay?
You're also allowed to be a person if that's the homie and that's what you want to do, sure. But we are indeed speaking about a coast-to-coast flight to stand up next to somebody and basically say, Charlie loved you. That was like the, 15-second speech.
Yeah, so, and she's allowed to do whatever the hell she wants. It was her husband and it is now her organization. It does not matter if she flew halfway across the globe and went to Japan for a 15-minute speech. That's her decision. That's her right. That's her husband. That's her organization now. That's her money. And that's the father to her kids. And the fact that anybody feels like it's their place, their God-given right to judge that in any way, shape, or form, then I honestly cannot even say, Lord, help you, because there is no God that can help you. There is no God that can humble this kind of attitude, this kind of entitlement, this kind of personality disorder. Only true reflection and true self-awareness can bring somebody to the point where they get the help that they need. To the realization that Candace Owens is nothing more than a judgmental asshole. She's a bitch. It's just that simple. She's a judgmental bitch. And why is beyond me. Because even if you have the beauty, the body, and the brains, still doesn't entitle you to be a judgmental bitch. See, in my worldview, nothing does. Nothing.
That she gave, right? Here's actually, we have a clip of that speech that she gave.
Well, he was also very good friends with a guy named Charlie. We just knew him as Charlie. And his wife, who we love so much, is here with us. And maybe, you know how close they were together. Maybe, Erika, you could say a couple of words, please.
I'm honored to, sir. Charlie loved you. It's hard not to get emotional because I know that he would have been the first phone call when he found out that you were going to be taking this position. And the way that I was able to witness the two of you work together for years and to champion and support the president was absolutely humbling to witness. And I am so proud of you. And Charlie is going to be with you every single day in spirit. And I will be praying for you every day because I know that this is just the beginning of an incredible opportunity for you. And sir, thank you for allowing Sergio to have this beautiful moment.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tara.
That's just an ambassador to India swearing in ceremony. Again, if that's your friend and you want to be there, that makes sense. She's also a person.
She's also the CEO of Turning Point USA. And if she wants to be there as CEO, then that's her right as CEO to make whatever decision she wants to. Point blank, period. End of discussion. But what's more concerning is the psychopathy and the sociopathy of Candace Owens sitting on all of these clips for 3 months, waiting for the moment to use them to do a whole video provoking Erika Kirk, knowing good damn and well when it's all put back into context, she has been instigating and provoking from day one. Candace Owens is an instigator. She's a shit starter. She's the playground bully that keeps flicking you in your ear when nobody is looking, kicking you in your shins under the desk when the teacher is turned away, stealing your peanut butter and jelly sandwich out of your lunchbox when nobody is looking. And then when the day comes when you finally beat the shit out of her and put her in her place, she's gonna cry wolf. She's gonna cry, look what they did to me. Look at all the bad things they're saying and doing to me. Knowing good damn and well that she had been instigating this from the very, very first moment that Charlie Kirk had died. She knows she's in the wrong, but she doesn't care because she's making millions. off of some other woman's deceased husband. God forbid this ever happened to her. God forbid that there is another Candace Owens out in the world who would do this if George Farmer was assassinated. And that's the difference between faithful, devout, God-fearing people and people who are sinful and greedy and jealous and envious. That's the difference between the actions, words, choices, and behaviors of the two different types of people. Now you know where Candace Owens truly falls. But one day, the abused kid who has been bullied is going to get tired of the bully and put her in her damn place.
And she can decide what she wants to do there. But the point that I am making is that's a coastal flight that she made to be there to watch a paper get signed. She has also made time for an upcoming CBS News town hall sit down with Barry Weiss, which was filmed today.
So, and jealous much?
So Erika Kirk has time. She has time. It is just what she means to say, not her priority.
No, she said what she meant and she meant what she said. She doesn't have time for your bullshit, Candace. She doesn't. Not only does she not have the time for your bullshit, it's not going to be a priority for her because you're not a priority. She knows that Utah law enforcement have brought the charges and apprehended Charlie Kirk's killer. You know who didn't in the last 90 days? You, Candace. Candace Owens has not solved the homicide of Charlie Kirk. Not even close. You don't even believe in science, let alone forensic science, to be able to collect the evidence to even prosecute the person who pulled the trigger. And as I showed yesterday, even though I blur it out, only one shot happened. That was it. Even if there was 50 people involved, Tyler James Robinson was the person who loaded the gun, pulled the trigger, and took that shot that ended Charlie Kirk's life. And from what we know right here, right now, they have him. He's going to trial. The same thing Erika Kirk said, there is no stone that will be left unturned. And thus far, Utah law enforcement have not found any proof at all that leads to anybody else.
Which is, you are allowed to prioritize things in your own life. But this is not a matter of time constraint. It is not her priority to respond to the majority.
To you. She does not have to respond to you, and she would be smart not to. And if she does, it is highly suggested she literally just slays the head right off the dragon. Cuts the head right off the snake and does away with all of this bullshit, all of this conspiracy, all of these made up lies and allegations. But watch, I will say, I told you so at the very end of all of this, because she's going to attend that trial. At the very least, be present for the sentencing, unless he is brokering in the next year or 2 years before trial a plea deal to take the death penalty off the table. And he admits what he did because he did 3 times in the indictment. And with 3,600 different witnesses and all of the cameras and footage, they have the DNA scientific evidence. Her response is going to be being the person who really got justice for her husband.
Actually, the majority of people think of this as BS. The majority of people think Turning Point is acting suspicious.
Nope, not me. I haven't said a damn thing about Turning Point USA. You're BS. You're suspicious because you're motivated by millions of dollars, and that's a pretty damn big motive. People have literally been killed for less than a bottle of Vicodin. People have been killed for less than $100 in their wallet. And you have the incentive of talking about Charlie Kirk and keeping this bullshit going because you're making millions, possibly double-digit millions by the time this is all said and done. But it's the real life damages that Candace Owens herself is causing people that's not okay.
And she does not feel that it is what she wants to do as a matter of priority, responding. Okay, that's fine. Now, to that point that people are making hundreds and thousands of dollars.
You are. In fact, you're making millions in the last 3 months. Just admit it and be honest and transparent with your followers. In fact, it would probably be best to just show them the last 3 reports of your ad revenue, of your financial statements. Why not just do that? Because that proves you have a pretty damn big motive and incentive to keep making up bullshit, prodding at this homicide investigation of Charlie Kirk, pretending that you and a whole bunch of middle-aged white women are just over here mommy sleuthing it. Well, I am 40 years old. I am a white woman. I am a mom. I am a disabled American, and I am a cancer survivor, stage 2/stage 3 cervical cancer in width and depth. And I am standing up to your bullshit. And I'm saying, no, I'm not. I don't care if it is the majority. You're wrong, and you know it.
I just don't get how there's not someone on this very large PR team, as we're seeing these PR campaigns go out, that doesn't go, hey, maybe we should strike that. They made $40 million like 2 nights ago at Mar-a-Lago. Maybe that feels kind of a little bit like let them eat cake-ish. Oh, and we've made more than, separately from Mar-a-Lago, Turning Point USA, since Charlie was killed, just so you guys know, this is a fact, has made more than $100 million. That is separate from the $40 million they made at Mar-a-Lago the other night. So since Charlie has died, that organization has taken in $140 million.
So it's not okay for Charlie Kirk's wife, nonprofit organization, children, sister, family, parents, his staff to make $140 million. And that's supposed to be a deflection from you making almost $6 million in the past 3 months. And that's on the low end. I'm not doing the math on that. A user on X, which you can all go verify, has been doing the math on that. Actually crunching all of the numbers based on her views. And that's not even her live gifts, which can be in the hundreds of thousands, if not tens of thousands, depending on the episode. That's not even merch. That's not even her website memberships. That's not even her book club memberships, which are 2 separate things. Don't deflect. Don't project. Put up or shut up, because I'm not making millions of dollars off of Charlie Kirk. Shit, I'm not even making $100 telling the truth about Candace Owens. Be so for real, girl.
But gosh darn you people that are making hundreds of dollars every day on YouTube.
Millions in the last 3 months. Tens of thousands every single episode, if not hundreds of thousands every single episode. Don't lie. It doesn't make it okay either to lie about the homicide investigation.
Talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination and the BS narrative that is being fed and the very obvious psychological operation that is.
Let me be very explicitly clear with all of you. The only psychological operation that is paid for via social media is the Candace Owens show on YouTube. She is paid opposition to destroy the coalition that Charlie Kirk spent almost 13 years building.
Is being employed to make you accept the BS that they are trying to sell to us. Gosh darn you. Thousands? Did you make $1,000 today? Speaking about Charlie Kirk? Well, you should be ashamed of yourself, says Turning Point USA.
Girl, don't include me in that. Don't include anybody else in that. She's talking to you. She ain't talking to everybody else. I ain't throwing you a life raft. You're the one who put yourself out there. You better hurry up and swim or just let yourself sink. And girl, you're sinking because Charlie Kirk's assassination is what is doing you in. Because your conceit and your ego is not letting you see the truth. When you said in video number 1 that I am going to solve the homicide of my friend Charlie Kirk, not only have you failed to do that, you are always going to fail in doing just that. Because despite what you think and feel and say, and no matter what your opinion is, and no matter how much you try to psychologically manipulate everybody that the feds are so bad, guess what? The feds have nothing to do with the investigation. Utah law enforcement is right at the top of the indictment. And have you ever wondered why she has never read all 10 pages like I have in a video? She doesn't even know the difference between Discord messages and text messages because she doesn't want you to know. She omits the truth that Tyler James Robinson admitted 3 different times in that indictment that he's the one who did it. And he even says why. I know you want to believe that law enforcement officers are corrupt, but I don't believe they all are. And I don't believe that they would want to botch an investigation like this. I also don't feel that anybody else in the world would have any motive to kill Charlie Kirk. Candace Owens, maybe. But Charlie Kirk, no. He was a huge asset to the United States of America on social media and even Israel, to the Jewish and Christian faiths and the Judeo-Christian relationship. He was a huge asset. There's fundamentally no reason, rhyme, or motive. Now, the bias and the hatred from Candace Owens, yeah, I can see that.
Who, in large part, made that money because of those very people who gave to the organization immediately following Charlie Kirk's assassination.
And that's not your business who gave to the organization or how many millions of people did. You told people to stop giving to Turning Point USA and to ask for their money back. So you're saying that your best friend, the organization that he built for 13 years, you didn't donate to, Candace?
And the thing that is especially absurd about that is trying to almost like, I want to be clear that Turning Point USA is my family. The Charlie Kirk show is my family. You know, like she's just expanding the wings of people that we're not allowed to critique because they're in the family. If you call them fam, you can't critique them, right?
Nowhere does Erika Kirk say that. Now she's making shit up. Now she's putting words in her mouth. I have a feeling that in middle school and high school, Candace Owens was a bully who didn't get her ass beat enough. Like, I have a feeling that she never really actually got the shit beat out of her by somebody that she was bullying. And that's led her to believe that she's allowed to do this, to literally defame, slander, and libel people in real time. And this is the evil, heinous, demonic little monster that you guys want to follow and believe. Oh, please, give me a damn break. You're joking, right? You're joking.
Oh, I'm sorry. We actually are showing a clip of Rob McCoy defending a pedophile or trying to launder the reputation of, that's fam. That's the CK show fam. Oh, I'm sorry. We are actually pointing to the fact that we know for certain that this person or organization is sexual deviant.
Prove it. Prove it. That would also beg the question, why were you best friends with somebody who was best friends with a pedophile, deviant then? What's that say about you, Candace, especially having little sons, especially knowingly working for Turning Point USA, knowing that they have pedophiles and sexual deviants, handpicked by Charlie Kirk? You're all dirty fucks. That's what. You're all dirty fucks.
That's fam. That is my, don't you get me upset. I know that this is a now $150 million in the last 3-month organization, and we employ tons of people, but you can't critique. You can't critique the fam. And I hate to say this, but I'm going to be very clear here. This is why there are many people who do not believe that women are equipped to lead companies because...
No, they're not, because you are single-handedly destroying your own.
What you are watching here is an unbelievably emotional response that is absent of any logic, okay? If you really care about your team, answer the questions, okay? Just demystify the entire event. Come out, sit down, answer the questions so people don't think Turning Point USA looks so suspicious.
No, she doesn't have to. And she doesn't have to buckle or bend the knee to your demands. I'm sure in regards to the life of Erika Kirk and her children, Candace Owens is nothing. Nobody. And you certainly aren't God, so I don't know why you're fashioning yourself as one. And to be of no consequence to somebody's life or their organization, what gives you any inclination that she would have to respond to you? Not the world, not the stupid people that follow you, as you like to call them, quote, you dummies, unquote, because she knows that the people that follow her are ignorant. That's why she literally calls them dummies every other episode. Her, not everybody else, her. And yes, I've showed it many times where she has called her own audience dummies or stupid because she knows that they are if they believe her scripts. But no, she doesn't have to respond to you, your claims, the things that you put on your YouTube channel content. Not the world, you. Say it with your whole chest, all 10 toes down. I don't care how many people you gaslight or manipulate into believing that they're in some kind of cult with you. Those claims were made by you, Candace, nobody else. You. Did you know that during the time of Jesus, what is now modern day Israel was called Judea? It had approximately 2 to 3 million people living in it. Yet Jesus had his core 12 disciples. And we know of the 72, and approximately historians average 120 other disciples, despite sometimes hundreds following him or being present during his speeches, his ministry. I don't care if I have to stand alone in the truth with 12 other people who also see the truth. Candace and her majority, Candace and her audience are the people that not only condemned and crucified Jesus of Nazareth. They let it happen and they watched it happen. And then they tried to kill him after he was dead by silencing his words and his ministry. So yeah, the truth isn't always popular, but it's what's right. It's what's just and what is righteous. But Candace Owens and her followers, her cult, are the people that would have stood by and watched Jesus, the truth, the only truth, be condemned, flogged, crucified. And they let it happen. That's the sick, diseased little cult that she has.
Don't try to like mom the organization and say, well, mother's upset because people are coming after her kids and all of the multi-million-dollar subsidiaries. That's my children, okay? The multi-million-dollar subsidiaries, Turning Point, like Turning Point Action, all that, those are my kids. So you can't critique them. Not a good idea, okay? It may work in PR world. You guys, I know how it's an obvious PR campaign. It's never been more obvious of a psychological operation. I actually wish they would put me on payroll so I could help them make these things look more organic.
Ah, and there's the truth for you. She's jealous, angry, hateful, resentful, and envious because she wants Erika to reach out to her and bring her back aboard Turning Point USA. And she didn't. She wants to be a part of that $140 million nonprofit, especially after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, the founder and CEO. And now she's not even good enough for his wife to look twice at. But that's funny. Why would Candace Owens be admitting to you all now that she wants to be on board with Turning Point USA, helping manage PR, when she told you all, her audience, to stop sending donations to them? She told you all that they have pedophiles that Charlie Kirk handpicked and hired. So the bigger question is, why does Candace Owens want to work with sexual deviants? Why does she want to go to work with pedophiles at Turning Point USA? And why did she lie to her dumb audience all along? If you don't see now, you will.
Then having every single person that has been telling us to stop asking questions all make the exact same video within 4 seconds of each other, being like, whoa, Erika Kirk shuts down no, she didn't even respond to one of the conspiracies.
She doesn't have to, because she slayed the head right off the dragon, right off the dirty serpent, the dirty little snake. She responded to you, and she told you to stop.
Gave us emotion. She gave us emotion. She said, I'm a mother, I am a wife, and we never asked about whether she was mother or wife. We want to know if she is a CEO and a chairman. And a CEO and a chairman has to compartmentalize. A CEO and a chairman cannot respond to valid questions and critiques about finances, about shady actions that are being taken by people that require presidential pardons.
And yet you want to go work with them again. You want to go do PR with them again. You want to go be a sexual deviant and human trafficker with them again, right? No, you said that you were going to solve the homicide of Charlie Kirk. So what the hell does their finances at this nonprofit have anything to do with his homicide in Utah? Turning Point USA is not going to have answers to why Tyler James Robinson did what he did. And mark my words, she's never going to get those answers before his public trial or his sentencing, or before he ever does a prison sit-down interview, which he likely won't. He likely won't ever do unless Erika Kirk chooses one day to sit down with him and talk to him and forgive him face to face. But as far as Candace Owens, no, she's playing all of you idiots. Remember, she's just playing you all. She wants to go work and do PR with a bunch of pedophiles and sexual deviants. Some people who are laundering money at Turning Point. People that her best friend Charlie Kirk handpicked himself. Which begs the question, who the fuck was really Charlie Kirk if he was picking sexual deviants and pedophiles to come work with him? It begs the question, what the hell did Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens really do behind the scenes? Behind closed doors? Where are they really getting their millions of dollars from? And what really does Turning Point USA do? Launder money?
People that are meaningfully asking why we are not getting a clear answer of what took place on September 10th. A CEO, okay, does not get to respond and say, that's my family.
A CEO gets to respond however she sees fit. And it's hilarious that she started this whole thing off with, she has every right. That's her right. That's her choice. And that's fine. But to completely passing judgments on Erika Kirk and her role as CEO, because she thinks her opinion is that she should do this, that she has an obligation to do this as CEO. She doesn't. She can make her own decisions. And by God, she's going to do just that. Even if it angers and pisses off Candace Owens even more. But no, She's the victim in all of this. It was her husband and her children's father who was murdered. Not yours, hers. She doesn't have to respond to anything. What she knows or does not know that is relevant pertaining to the homicide investigation in the trial against Tyler James Robinson, that's her business to know, not yours. And we will learn everything in due time. Patience is a virtue, but not for Candace Owens, because she's been patiently for 3 months waiting for this moment to say some shit about Erika Kirk. And we all seen it coming because she's predictable. She's fucking cliche. She's a typical sociopath and narcissist. Their behavior, actions, words, and choices are in alignment with exactly what we thought, exactly what we predicted.
Okay, that's the energy of what I would expect from a mother speaking to a teacher, which I was this mom. Like, that's my kid, okay? And I'll shut this down right now. That's my child. This is not a child. Turning Point USA is an organization, and Erika already had an uphill battle to climb, like that she had to climb this because, by the way, just because if this was Goldman Sachs and the president of Goldman Sachs or a managing director over at Goldman Sachs died in a horrifically violent way.
But it's not Goldman Sachs, it's Turning Point USA. And she can make the decisions based on what she feels her husband left her as a blueprint that he wanted for Turning Point USA, because she would know better than anybody.
The Goldman Sachs family might mourn for a couple of months, but they would have instantly had someone to replace that individual. And beyond that, they would have never accepted the public and the people that are investing money. They would have never accepted, well, he's gone, but here's his wife.
Oh, but they did. The world did. And they rallied around her and surrounded her with prayers, grace, love, warmth, and acceptance. And that just kills you, that you cannot buy or demand that kind of love and respect from people. You have to lie, gaslight, psychologically manipulate people to get a false sense of exactly that. And I really don't know if that's sad or if that's pathetic, but that, like I said, is typical of a sociopath. Instead of just being a good person, instead of just being honest, in the last 3 months, she's done nothing but lie and manipulate. You can't constantly immerse yourself in darkness and evil, like lying and gaslighting and manipulating, and then wonder why you're not getting the positive, proactive results that Erika Kirk is getting, when she's clearly immersed herself around God, around the Bible, around other very devout people with goodness and light. And that just kills Candace, because the narcissism and the psychopathy and the sociopathy in her brain feels like she's entitled and she's deserving and she earned that and that she should be given that. And you know she's jealous and she's resentful and she's envious of that, because if she wasn't, it wouldn't be on her mind, on her subconscious to then verbally say it. I don't talk about bananas and green beans unless they're on my mind, unless they're in my thoughts or I'm emotionally craving them. The same exact thing here with what she's saying about Erika, trying to insinuate that she's not good enough to fill Charlie's position. She is. In fact, she's better, because I wasn't even a fan of Charlie Kirk. He could be overly aggressive, overly passive aggressive. He could be very domineering. He could be very rude, especially to people who are liberal, who think or feel things differently from him. And Erika Kirk seems much lighter, much more honest, open, direct, and more warm, more welcoming, more inviting. I think that she'll be able to propel Turning Point USA into a stratosphere that even Charlie Kirk never could, because guess what? She's already done it. And I think that Candace Owens is jealous because she's not good enough for Erika Kirk to notice, to bring her on in any kind of way, shape, or form. But why would she want to go to work with people who are laundering money and bringing sexual deviants and pedophiles in? Right, because that's not true. Candace Owens is evil, and she's slinging mud, and she's trying to destroy Turning Point USA because she is jealous and she feels that Erika Kirk doesn't deserve to be handed it. F you, Candace. You are so vapid. You are so vain. You are so shallow and hollow. So predictable and so cliche. I guess Erika Kirk is going to take Turning Point USA to a stratosphere that the Candace Owens YouTube channel can never imagine being at.
She already had a hill to climb here, right? Like, this does not make you qualified because you love someone to take on their job. I am not qualified to do what my husband does. That's why I said I wouldn't want to be the CEO and the chairman of a company. Actually,
but she does, and she did, and she's doing absolutely fine, and she is climbing that hill with millions of people behind her, helping hold her up. And that just kills you, doesn't it, Candace? It just kills you. And not only is she qualified, but she's doing it. She already is CEO and she's been doing it. She's going to continue doing it also. But the slander, the libel, the mudslinging, the trying to put it in the public perception that she's not good enough, that she's not qualified because she was just simply a housewife. So are you, Candace, and you're doing a pretty shit job at your YouTube channel and your website. You're doing a pretty shit job at your book club because you only mention the same 3 books over and over. Oprah Winfrey used to go through over 1 book in a singular week during her book club. All we ever hear about is the Hollywood Babylon, chaos, and the assault on truth over and over and over because confirmation bias. She only seeks out information that confirms her already implanted bias.
Great clip of Jordan Peterson asking that very question. Like, why do women want to be? Like, why would you want to have? It's actually a lot of work and it's very stressful and it's a lot of numbers and you're crunching numbers.
That's why people hire an accountant.
And you have to be everywhere, okay?
Didn't she just tell you all that Erika Kirk had all the time in the world? She's just not prioritizing her time right. But now she's saying CEOs have to be everywhere all the time. They're busy. They're constantly working. They're constantly crunching numbers. They're in charge of every decision. But she tried to downplay the importance of a CEO earlier by saying that she has all the time in the world. She's just not making it a priority to answer questions about her husband's homicide. She's despicable, vile, and evil. And I'm telling you, there's going to be a documentary one day about the case study of the psychopathy of Candace Owens.
If you want that, great. If you built the company and you're in the room like Charlie Kirk did, and you have proven to the public, like, hey, I built this company, I didn't even go to college, and I've been doing this for over a decade, as Charlie Kirk did, you've earned that street cred, okay? So she already had a hill to climb because now they're saying, well, this is his wife. And so, that's it.
And if you were for God and not the devil, Candace, why instead are you not being one of the people that are helping Erika Kirk up the hill, knowing that your best friend, Charlie Kirk, according to your own words, would want that? Why are you instead creating mud piles and putting up roadblocks for her as she climbs that hill? Because you're despicable, you're vile, you're jealous, you're sinful like everybody else, but your sins specifically focus on greed, envy, vanity, and that's going to be what does you in yourself. Because even you didn't earn that street cred. You're just a housewife, a mother of 4. You're not equipped to be a CEO of anything, despite longing for it, despite wanting it. And instead of being grateful and thankful for the audience that rallies behind you and supports you while you climb your hill, you're trying to tear down another woman. Everybody that follows Candace Owens should pay really close attention to this. Because if that didn't show you exactly who and what she is, well, the next 2 weeks certainly are. Just wait and see. Bookmark this. And the reason why I say this is because she's not going to stop. She is not going to stop. And you know how I know she's not going to stop? Because Candace Owens is not a good human being. She's a shit human being.
Well, now you're going to have to prove that you have the ability to be a CEO and a chairman and not just a wife who we expect emotion from. And you're rightful in that capacity. You are rightful to have emotion.
Right. And we don't want your bias or your emotion when it comes to the investigation into the homicide of Charlie Kirk. Because your hatred, your anger, your jealousy, your revenge, your envy, your greed isn't really solving anything, especially the homicide of Charlie Kirk. You're kind of focusing on everything but that. And that's become very obvious to everybody.
Rightful to be the aggrieved widow, but you don't get to just be widowed into the position of chairman and CEO. You don't get to respond to, well, in this case, investors, donors who have given money and are asking meaningful questions.
So Candace Owens is admitting that she donated money to Turning Point USA? Because what donor is also asking meaningful questions. She's the only person that has been asking and demanding questions. So is she saying quietly that she donated money? Because Erika Kirk would know if she did or not. But yeah, she does get to be widowed into CEO because she was, and she is.
With no, you don't get replies right now because this is the Charlie Kirk show, fam. Doesn't work this way, okay?
Oh, it does work that way. It's whatever she wants it to be. Even if she decided to burn it all down to the ground, it's hers to burn down to the ground, not yours. That's her name. That's her husband. That's their legacy. She is the only person that gets to say what works and what does not work. Just because you donate money to a nonprofit doesn't mean that you get to have conditions or strings attached. Because once you donate it, it's no longer yours. That's not a giving heart. That's a controlling heart. That's saying, look at me, I donated money to you. Now answer what I want you to. No, she doesn't have to. Nobody has to. Literally, what is wrong with Candace Owens? Truly, what is wrong with her? We all watched Charlie Kirk die, and yet people that didn't even know him and weren't a fan of him have more empathy, sympathy, and compassion than she does. Have a higher IQ, a higher emotional IQ than she does. Have more common sense than she is displaying. And trust me, the only thing she's displaying is jealousy. Pure jealousy.
And the broader point, removed from Erika, which a lot of these mockingbird influencers seem to be making, is essentially they're saying to us that scientific inquiry and investigation in and of itself is now patently wrong, right? Essentially, we should just trust the state. Don't believe your own instincts. Don't believe your own eyes. Don't ask any questions.
Nope. And I'm going to have to agree with her. And the reason why is because your questions, your own instincts, and your own eyes. My own eyes seen one shot, heard one shot, and seen one shot go through Charlie Kirk and end his life. There wasn't two bullets and two people with two different guns going off at the same time or even close in time with each other. I know what I saw. I know what I heard. But it's been over 90 days, and your instincts, your questions have not brought you any closer to solving the homicide. In fact, the state of Utah have done that. So that begs the question, how good are your investigation skills when you've literally failed to solve the homicide of Charlie Kirk? How good are your instincts when you didn't even come close? And what the hell does your instincts have to do with anything? Because you don't know the truth and you don't know the answers. That's why you're still asking questions. Because if you knew the truth, you wouldn't need to ask questions because you would already know it. This is not only not logical, this is the opposite of logic. If you want to prove to other people that the state of Utah are corrupt or that the government, the federal government is corrupt, you're going to have to pick a different case than the homicide of Charlie Kirk. Because even to the state of Utah or the federal government, Charlie Kirk was not a problem. He wasn't important enough to want to take out. In fact, the amateur sloppiness of it tells you that it was a 22-year-old young man. So this isn't about instincts. This isn't about questions or your eyes. Because if it was, nobody would be watching Candace Owens because nobody would be that stupid, right? Remember, she's the person who every other episode is calling her own audience dummies and stupid. She did it just yesterday, quote, "You dummies," unquote. She did it the show before that on Monday, quote, "You guys must be stupid to believe Candace Owens," unquote. Yeah, with the way you keep saying it, it's because you know your audience is dumb. It doesn't matter as long as you get the most amount of views to get more ad revenue. More people who watch equals the difference between making $100 on a video and making hundreds of thousands on a video. Plus, the more people that you can manipulate and gaslight and psychologically manipulate emotionally, the more sales, the more membership, the more merchandise, the more live gifts, super chats, super stickers you get.
And I really want to stress to you guys how utterly ridiculous that logic is, right? Because if we followed that logic in any other situation, there would never be a crime solved ever, okay? If we just ascribe to the idea that scientific investigation is on its face wrong, it would not work. I'll give you a crappy analogy here, but imagine if there's like some young mother and she dies suddenly in the middle of the night, presumably in the middle of the night, And her husband is the first one to report it in the morning. And the cops show up, who happen to be his buddies.
This is all hypothetical, so none of this matters. Candace Owens isn't a cop. She's not an investigator. She's not even a real journalist that covers crime, that covers corruption, that does the exposés. And this entire scenario has absolutely nothing to do with what happened to Charlie Kirk and how he died and who did it. Because as of right now, there's absolutely no proof at all whatsoever that anybody else knew about it or participated in helping Tyler James Robinson.
They get there, and then they dramatically close the case in 48 hours. And neighbors are like, wait a minute.
Has nobody watched the entire show, the first 48? You tell me why the first 48 hours are the most critical to any investigation.
Excuse me, officers. Actually, you might want to know some other facts here about this guy. Like, he's in the mafia. These people would be like, how dare you question the people closest to, he loved her, that's his wife. Being a gang member is not evidence. Why are you saying he's a gang member? It's not evidence. And you get another nosy neighbor who produces evidence that in the middle of the night before she died, they saw the guy outside, the husband outside, removing cameras in the front yard. That's not evidence. Yeah, but I saw him go out in the middle. He put something in his car in the trunk. He was looking shady.
Again, this is not any variable that is even remotely applicable to the homicide of Charlie Kirk. Nobody's seen anybody else other than one sole person on top of a roof. No video footage has captured anybody other than one sole person on top of a roof. No CCTV footage has captured anybody other than the one person on the roof. No home security footage anywhere captured anybody other than Tyler James Robinson.
That's not evidence. How dare you find that to be suspicious?
It's not. And you don't know what's real evidence because that real evidence is being protected for trial. Due process rights.
More nosy neighbors start discussing, and they were like, hey, we heard them. They were having actually a heated argument before she was found dead. I think it was about money. All of a sudden, the next thing you know, you got Allie Stuckey from the HOA. She blasts out an email and she says, it's unbiblical. It's unbiblical to gossip. Hearing an argument is not hard evidence. You have no right to discuss it.
But that's not what you're doing. You're causing real harm to real people. You're defaming, slandering, libeling, saying all kinds of bullshit about real people, accusing people that Charlie worked very closely with as pedophiles and sexual deviants. Yet you say you want to go be PR there now, that you want to go work with that. That's not only really weird, but that tells you exactly who Candace Owens and Charlie Kirk are and who he was, if that's true. But yeah, it's not evidence. Candace Owens doesn't have the real evidence because the real evidence is being protected for trial. The prosecution and the defense would have that. Not the media, not the public, and not a YouTuber.
Yeah, we're the nosy neighbors, okay? We put together a list of 20 verifiable lies.
Well, first of all, if you're asking questions that have not been answered, you can't verify that those 25 things are lies, right? Asking the question is really to verify that. That's the problem, is you don't have that verified. But you are the nosy neighbor. Don't include your audience in there. You don't get to do people dirty like that and try to hide behind them.
That have been told in the weeks following this sudden death event. And we have some questions. So we're not going to accept Tim Pool jumping on the airwaves with big estrogen energy telling us we're evil.
Yeah, I would say evil. Didn't this person, Tim Pool, just go to X to let everybody know that Candace fans were shooting at his house? That somebody literally was shooting at his property because Candace Owens had just done a whole video talking about him and put him in her thumbnail? Yeah, that's the real weight and power that her words have. And people are naive and gullible enough to believe Candace Owens. And she knows it. She uses her audience to do her dirty work for her. Talk the talk, but can't walk the walk. That's who she is. An instigator, a provoker.
Because we have like school board elections next Thursday. We're the nosy neighbors. We don't care about the elections coming up. We want to know whether or not we are in bed with people who are capable of murder, people that are capable of covering up murders. Actually, we, the nosy neighbors, feel a little bit less safe in this neighborhood.
Then move. Move to Australia. Move to the UK. We know that your husband wanted to become a US citizen and use the US stocks. But if you don't like the neighborhood, stop being nosy. Water your own grass. And if you don't like it, sell your house and move. Oh, wait, Candace Owens already allegedly lives in a $3 million Nashville mansion. What? Her neighborhood is fine because she's got security. So to her, it doesn't matter if her audience sends real death threats to other people who can't afford security.
Until we know whether or not there are some psychopathic killers in our midst. How about that? That's how I feel. I think that's how a lot of people feel right now. So I want to express that. And this psychological campaign filled with emotional manipulation and how dare you and the aggrieved widow speaks and so you're not allowed to question a $150 million organization. No, I reject it. I reject that 100%. Which is why I will say it has arrived as a blast of fresh air that on this very same day, Tucker Carlson is standing up to the nonsense. He's not speaking about Erika, obviously. He is friends with Erika. But just the nonsense of what the FBI is saying, he's wading in and saying, yeah, the FBI is not being clear in what happened. And I have questions because...
Want to go down a rabbit hole? Who is this Ralph guy? Because I'm convinced this is Tucker Carlson. I don't remember what his last name was, but he was on a historical and a biblical documentary that I watched. And it's not giving doppelganger, it's giving same person. But let's look at that, okay? Does that say FBI federal charges at the top? Does that say that the FBI are the ones that are overseeing this, that they're the ones who have jurisdiction over this? No, it says Utah County, state of Utah. Again, you can feel free to pause and read because this is the 10-page indictment against 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson for the homicide of Charlie Kirk. So she can still feed you that nonsense about the feds aren't giving us a story. The feds have nothing to do with this, other than they offered manpower and resources because the FBI director was a personal friend of Charlie Kirk's. That's it. No more, no less. They helped. They didn't take over. They didn't own it. They don't have jurisdiction. They helped. Why? Because Charlie Kirk was very known on the internet. High profile case, and they needed to apprehend the person quickly. And they did that.
And I think it feels like a blast of fresh air, because and I know many people at home, are seeing all of these people that we followed and we thought that they were heroes. And suddenly this assassination has exposed them all to be frauds. For the right price, they will join Operation Mockingbird.
Girl, what price? You still never gave that $10,000 bounty that you promised to anybody with proof that they're getting paid. Creators are getting paid to do videos about you. Because I know I'm not. If somebody else is, please hook it up because I need it. Christmas time, car trouble, cancer survivor. Nope, I'm doing this because it is my God-given duty. And because I care about justice and truth.
For me personally, that is how I feel, okay? Like people in the military that I thought were forthright, people that were journalists that I thought were forthright. I just am so let down. And I don't think I would have been able to handle if Tucker Carlson was among those people. You need hard evidence.
Yep, that hard evidence is going to convict the killer of Charlie Kirk, Tyler James Robinson. You just wait and see, Candace. And if you are in her audience, then sit tight because you're going to be proven wrong too. Watch. If you believe this conspiracy slop, Lord help you.
As if the killer's going to walk in and be like, okay, here's how I did it. Okay, I'm going to give you the hard evidence. I was here, there. Like, what? Instead, Tucker Carlson is coming out and he is blasting the corporate and the Fed narrative with common sense. He joined Theo Von, and here is what he had to say. Take a listen.
I don't understand the official story at all.
Assassination?
I don't understand it, and I want to make sure that there is a truly rigorous and honest federal investigation of it.
Okay, first and foremost, earlier in the episode, Candace Owens tells you that Tucker Carlson confirms the Egyptian airplane theory, right? That he confirms what she told you about Egyptian planes. But he also said that the feds need to do a thorough investigation. The FBI does not need to because Utah is handling that just fine. In fact, I would say that they are successfully handling it because not only do they have the hard evidence that they are using against Tyler James Robinson to prove his guilt, as well as his own words 3 different times, his own family are going to likely testify under oath that he admitted it, that they helped turn him in. But how can this thing happen? Tucker Carlson? I don't know. Maybe watching things like Candace Owens radicalizes young, smart, bright children into 22-year-olds who have different ideology, different worldview, different beliefs. They load a gun. They simply go to a place. They premeditate. They load that gun. They pull the trigger. And then they run, trying to cover up the sloppy mess they left behind, the damage they left behind. And their family, a former law enforcement agent and a family minister, helped not only apprehend, but helped capture and turn him in. That's how this happened. The deliberate act and choice of 22-year-old Tyler James Robinson. It really is that simple. The death and the crime of Charlie Kirk fits a very standard, typical pattern of behavior. Between 46 and 52 men die every single day in the United States by a sole perpetrator, another male, by gun. 46 to 52 every single day in America. One man simply makes the choice to take a gun and murder another man. That is a pattern that is seen all the time in all 50 states, every single day in the United States of America. And just like Charlie Kirk said, having those gun deaths every single year is the price you pay for having a Second Amendment. He said it, not me. You can go ahead and find that clip because I'm not going to go hunt it down, but I've seen it because he didn't believe in having any kind of gun control. Like, I don't know, not having them registered or keeping them away from people who are ill or people who are violent or people who have, very strong political beliefs, because those tend to be the type of people who commit this kind of violence. President Abraham Lincoln, President Garfield, President McKinley, JFK's brother, Martin Luther King Jr., John Lennon, Charlie Kirk. Yeah, it's pretty standard. A man doesn't like another. He takes the opportunity to kill him, and he does. It's really sad, but it's the truth. Radicalization and hate can drive somebody to do that. And it really just is that simple. And I understand that some so-called conservatives can't wrap their mind around it, that they have to blame law enforcement or the FBI, which have nothing to even do with the investigation at all, instead of facing the reality of how did this young 22-year-old get a unregistered gun that's 111 years old before serial numbers were required on them or registrations. Asking the questions like, where did he get it from? Who gave it to him? Why was he given it? Why did he have such easy access? Why wasn't somebody paying closer attention to his radicalized, very quickly shifting beliefs in the last year? Why wasn't he getting any kind of mental health evaluations or help? Those are better, more proactive questions that need to be answered.
And I'm definitely concerned about that. A. B. I think that I don't know many of the details, but I know that recently Candace said that Egyptian registered aircraft were following Erika Kirk, Charlie's widow, around for a number of years in different places in the world.
Now, remember what she said earlier in this episode, that later Tucker Carlson is going to confirm about the Egyptian military planes. This is circular. This is the circle jerk of using each other's content to try to verify and corroborate when all he said was that Candace Owens said about the Egyptian military planes. That's not hard evidence. That's not facts. That's not truth. That's hearsay. Hearsay is not admissible in the court of law because this is not even direct eyewitness testimony. This is somebody told me and I'm going to say it. And then somebody else said that they heard me say it. She literally curated 5.5 million followers off of this. You're joking. You're joking. There's no way. There's just no way. No way. Not with all the really great creators that are out there. No way.
That's one of the weirdest things I've ever.
Wild. Okay. I didn't get the vax. I didn't get the COVID-19 vax. And I'm not getting whatever the heck this is. Okay. Which is honestly on its face, federal stupidity.
Again, the feds have nothing to do with it.
Is what it is. Now, I can also tell you that because my mommy sleuths, they're so fast before stuff even ends. I get tips about things. And Erika literally today sat down with Barry Weiss. It's been marketed all over. They're going to have this big sit down.
It's kind of starting to feel like she's stalking Erika Kirk. She's got all these clips she's been sitting on since her husband died 3 months ago. Her private Instagram posts from over 3 months ago. She's saving all of her work, mainstream media dates for Turning Point USA as CEO. And now she's got people digging into Erika Kirk, helping her. That's pretty evil. Coming from a motherfucker who had a whole entire doxing website, who doxed children, coming from somebody who she and her husband are really good friends with human sex trafficker Andrew Tate. Yeah, talk about pedophiles and sexual deviants. Working very close with Charlie Kirk, handpicked by Charlie Kirk, working at Turning Point USA, and then she says that she wants to work PR, that they should have brought her back to do PR there. We need to start asking questions about how is Candace Owens making this kind of money? How can she afford a giant mansion when other people are starving? When other people work 6 hours on one video all by themselves? Need to start asking, what are these big elite people like Candace Owens and her husband who are worth over $250 million? Where are they getting their money and what are they doing for that money? Trafficking, sex trafficking, wire fraud, embezzlement, hedge funds, stocks, what? What's going on here?
A conversation moderated by Barry. It's going to feature voices from across the political spectrum. They're going to talk about grief.
But Candace Owens finally admitted to you all that she's not a conservative. She's just been role-playing one. Charlie Kirk helped to sell her to the social media and mainstream media as a real conservative, even though she never was. She told everybody yesterday, plain as day, like she always does, she doesn't care if you're left and right. She doesn't care about politics. She doesn't care. She doesn't care about politics, yet she built her platform on political commentary. Yet she never even discusses anything like the Christian genocide, how Christians are literally the number one religion in the last 2,000 years that have been genocided against the most, have had the most amount of persecution, how Joseph Stalin himself allegedly killed over 66 mostly Christian people just in Russia alone, because Candace Owens doesn't care. She doesn't give a fuck about anybody else other than herself, as long as she's thriving and rich and famous. Is that all I have to do? Is that all you have to do to be rich and famous and okay? Just operate, motion, and move through life like a fucking sociopath and psychopath and narcissist? That's it? That's all it takes? Running your mouth, making false allegations, defaming people, bringing up real politicians, real celebrities all the time?
And I got this email after, and it's interesting. I got actually a couple of emails, but I'm going to read this one to you because it was a town hall-ish event. Here's what they said went down. This person writes, I just came from the CVS. By the way, whoever wrote this email, I love you. I just love all of the mommy sleuths that are this quickly.
So she doesn't even have a video clip to fact check this. Why didn't the person, if they were there and seen this, why didn't they record it? Why didn't they record it and send it to her so she can play it so that way you can be an eyewitness to what is true, what was said? See, she acts like this with her audience because she wants you to be complicit in her bad behavior, in her defaming people, in her attacking of people, bullying of people.
That are this quick. They wrote, I just came from the CBS Times Erika Kirk town hall, and this is what she said about the conspiracies and Candace. 1, Erika said she was pregnant when the Egyptian planes were flying and following her, so she wasn't on them. She said she has photo proof. Huh? I'm sorry. Did I ever accuse Erika of being on Egyptian planes?
Did Erika Kirk even say that? Because from what we see, that's just a whole bunch of words that somebody typed. But if they were there, why didn't they record it? So that way you could actually see what she said. Because I'm sure somebody recorded it, right? There's no way that somebody didn't record that. She's the CEO of a now $140 million nonprofit.
When I found the Egyptian planes, I was concerned that they were following Charlie because I thought, wow, has there been a foreign government that has been tracking his events? Like maybe, I don't know, like running through the operation early, and then we broadened it when someone clued us into the fact that actually these planes have been following Erika. You just heard Tucker Carlson confirm that.
No, Tucker Carlson did not confirm that. He said that when he heard Candace Owens say that, he thought that that was really strange, that that was really odd. But he did not confirm anything about Egyptian military planes or Egyptian planes at all. Again, this is the circle jerk. This is the human centipede. Everybody's jerking each other off. Everybody has ass to mouth. That's exactly what I mean. She's trying to use somebody else's content to verify what she said, but they don't do that. They don't verify shit. You guys can't honestly believe this. You can't. There's just no way you can believe this.
I thought she'd be concerned. Instead, she's going to tell us on Saturday that she wasn't on the planes. I never said you were on the planes. Why would I think you were on the Egyptian planes? I don't think that you took off.
Again, this isn't even something she heard or seen in a video Erika Kirk say herself. This is something that somebody else told her that she allegedly heard Erika say. She doesn't even verify or corroborate if that is true. That is how fucking lazy Candace Owens is. And you're going to tell me that you're going to be ignorant enough to actually believe this.
Off and went to Wilmington, Delaware. I know you didn't go to Wilmington, Delaware on the day of Charlie Kirk's assassination. I find that answer to be lacking. Okay? That is weird to me. It's a weird answer to give.
What's weirder is your obsession and your jealousy. But then again, you're making millions, so you have a pretty big motive. Again, you have a pretty big incentive there. People have literally killed for less. People have quite literally killed just because they hated somebody. They didn't like their politics or their worldview or their religion.
And by the way, you can fly when you're pregnant. Even if you were on the Egyptian plane, that's a possibility when you're pregnant. So I don't understand that part at all. 2, when Barry asked her about the conspiracies and what she had to say to those saying them, Erika said, stop. No. 3, not about Candace, but she talked about Israel and said good things about Jews and how TPUSA is having Shabbat dinner. I didn't read that before we went live at AmFest. Okay. Okay. You guys, I want you to know, in addition to the fact that Charlie in the last couple of days wanted people to know that Mikey is fantastic and supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and he had this whole vision, and that Rob McCoy was his favorite pastor, and that you should buy Josh Hammer's book. He also wants you to know to just be a Jew.
Now, Candace Owens is definitely twisting what that said there, and that tells you just how much she is racist against Jewish people. That's crazy. You know, Jesus of Nazareth was a Jewish man, right? So at the end of the day, guess what? Candace Owens is going to bend the knee to a Jew after all. That's so crazy that Charlie Kirk has been dead for 3 whole months, and yet she just put words in his mouth. You know what they say? Dead men can't talk. You know what they say? Dead men tell no tales.
I think we get it. We get it. Those were his last words. Okay? We get it. Just like... Okay. Anyways.
Guess what? English is English. The 178,000 English words that I use are the same 188,000 English words that people in the military use. Vernacular would be saying, you guys, instead of y'all. Not really anything coded there, Candace, but take a listen to what she has to say with this. But if her megalomania and her psychological egoism hasn't been exposed to you completely yet, this is going to do it for you. You know, if wanting to work with Turning Point USA where there's pedophiles and sexual deviants, if blaming whole churches for being sexually deviant and full of pedophiles, yet she's attending one. If you've ever seen Candace Owens humbly apologize and admit that she's a sinner, that she's wrong, that she's incorrect, that she knows what she's doing is wrong, well, be prepared, because you're not going to hear her do it now. Watch and listen.
Moving on from that, I want to say to the 39 bajillion of you who are in the military who emailed us to let me know that I misspoke yesterday. Okay, I even said to you ahead of time, I said, I don't know military vernacular. I don't know these terms. It's like another language. And you guys are not aware of yourselves. Okay, so you critiqued me for saying E4, E3 when I should have said 06. I'm jotting down these notes. I'm having a conversation. I'm trying to fact check things. And for me, I was focusing on the timeline of where he was. I was like getting all of the proof from our military guy who was there for this meeting on September 9th and it's also on September 8th as well. And I misspeak, okay? Because you guys basically speak Japanese. You don't realize you do.
This is her excuse, her deflection, her gaslighting, her projection, and her manipulation. It's your fault for now speaking a different language other than English. The same way she fucked up with her whole assassination plot saying Camp Riley instead of Camp Ripley because she's not actually doing any real research or investigation. She's not paying attention. She's lazy. And instead of doing the good, noble thing and just apologizing, just admitting she was wrong and she misspoke because she didn't misspeak. She deliberately did not read what that man wrote to her, even though she was pretending to from a phone. And she proves that because when she goes back into her phone, she clearly sees that, yeah, that's what he said.
What you do, you speak Japanese. And I said E4, E3, and I went back and I checked the notes, and actually he said 06s. Thank you. Thank you for your 26 billion emails to let me know that I don't know ish about the military. Okay, it was a human error. I made it very clear that I am ignorant when it comes to military. I will own that. And so please just be nice to me sometimes where it's a lot of information, a lot of researching. And I just wanted to confirm.
And instead of just apologizing and saying that she's sorry, that she was incorrect, that she's wrong, that she's a sinner, she's imperfect, that she's lied to you all, that she's made things up, that she's created imaginary sources that don't really exist. Oh no, only good, decent, God-fearing people would do something like that. Not a psychopath, not a sociopath, silly. Candace Owens is above apologizing when she's wrong. Oh, wait, she didn't? She didn't admit in all of that? Last 20 minutes just trying to gaslight and manipulate you into, well, it was just a simple mistake. How? You were reading what the man wrote you from your phone. How could you have fucked that up? She didn't even get the Freedom of Information Act request. She wants you guys to go do that to try to verify or corroborate something for her. And I hope somebody does, because I bet you that report does not say anything matching with yesterday, Tuesday, the show of December 9th. 2025. Just how she got the entire Egyptian military plane following Erika Kirk around wrong. Less than 5 of them were even verified as being in her vicinity. That can't just be a coincidence, right? No, this is scripted. This is a psyop. This is somebody who is paid to feed you bullshit, to distract, to deflect from what is really happening in the world. And the Charlie Kirk assassination is a really good topic to deflect your attention away from the multiple wars going on in the world, from what the United States of America is really doing in the world. And in exchange, she gets a lot of money, and she gets a lot of money from her website and from her YouTube channel. It's highly paid, controlled opposition. And Candace Owens knows exactly what the hell she is doing. The only problem is you, her audience, you don't know. You have no idea. She wants you to think and feel that she's just one of the poor guys, just like you or me. She's not. She's one of the elite who moves and shakes with all the people in Hollywood, rubs elbows with Kanye West and Andrew Tate and Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, with big organizations, has a lord for a father-in-law, has a husband worth over $250 million, is secretly worth millions herself. Have you opened your eyes yet? Because what is she deflecting from? And words are the vehicle she chooses to deflect your attention. But when you pay attention to them, you see that it's all just bullshit. You see that there's truly an agenda behind all of this. And the last thing that she is delivering to anybody is truth or justice.
He said he was where he said he was, and take those notes. But no, he did not. He was very clear. I checked the notes that he has said 06. I think
my husband said or did was taken out of context. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else.
Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Please like and share. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, and I will catch you all on the flip side. God bless you all.